What's going on, everybody? It is Lorne here for the FAF Free As Fuck Podcast, episode 8 with Marshall Holmes. Look, I put my thumbnail. Marshall reacts to Tom McDonald's Snowflakes. Some of you thought it was Eminem. It is actually, in fact, Eminem. This is Marshall Mathers. This is pre-editing. You know, there's no filters on this one. This is not Snapchat Marshall Mathers right here. So, you know. Look, man, not everything you see in tabloids is real. But we're going to kick it off, man. It is Wednesday, June 30th. And it's the end of the month, man. We are coming up on 4th of July weekend. Nothing could say free as fuck more than 4th of July.
Damn right.
So we're excited about that. We're excited to have a nice holiday weekend and trying to forget the shit show of a month that June probably was. And nothing says free as fuck like letting Bill Cosby out of jail.
Holy fuck. Holy fuck. How did that happen?
Close to your face. Move your mic a little bit. Move your mic closer to you.
Oh, closer to
Yeah, there you go.
Right here?
Yeah, there you go. How did that happen?
How the fuck did that happen? That's insane.
It's crazy.
That's insane.
I saw someone post it on one of the stock channels, and it was like, "Oh, Cosby'd out there to the moon." I was like,
I didn't even know it was a possibility. I mean, I figure he's appealing, because he's got money, so he's going to appeal to the bitter end. But
dude,
you read what happened? I mean, do you understand the legal things that happened?
I was reading through it, and I have
a very thorough understanding of what
do
happened.
you? Because I just skimmed over, and I was like, "What in the?
Yeah, fucking
how?
crazy.
How does this happen?"
Well, here's what happened. Initially, when the case was brought forward, they didn't feel they had a strong case. Back then, you got to realize that at that time, when the case was being brought forward by this woman, he was Bill Cosby, Bill Cosby before all this shit came to the surface.
Right.
And so the prosecutors were like, well, this is Bill Cosby. I don't really think he did anything, but she brought a civil case at the same time. And they wanted him to have to testify in the civil case. The prosecutors did. So they made a deal with him that they would not prosecute him for the rape. They would dismiss those charges, not indict him, so that he had to testify in her civil case.
Really?
And they wanted him to tell the truth. And the deal was, if he told the truth in his civil case testimony, that they would not prosecute him for the rape.
Okay.
And because they didn't think they could convict him, so they thought, well, we're at least going to get him to tell the truth on record.
That's so crazy.
And then if he tells the truth on record, this woman will get a settlement out of this civil case.
Okay.
So then fast forward 10 years, 15 years later, a Philadelphia comic goes on stage and says, by the way, Bill Cosby's a rapist.
Right. I remember seeing that story.
So from that blew up into all of the women coming forward. And I believe it was somewhere between 20 and 30 women.
A lot.
It was a lot. They took a picture
lot
of the group of them and put it on the front cover of one of those ladies.
And
like
then
Vogue or
not
whatever.
only was it a lot of women, but there was also just a lot of talk amongst just like people who knew him on how creepy he constantly was and how everyone talked about it and everyone pretty much knew and no one did anything.
Right.
And that's the craziest part.
That's insane.
It wasn't even like, oh, yeah, that seems like he may have. They were like, no, he definitely did that to all those people.
And he had admitted to it at that point. Like he had testified in the civil case. They had it on record. Wow. He was like, yeah, this is what I did. This is how I did it. I went about it. I understood what I was doing. I knew that if I could get a woman alone, I could get drugs in her, I could have sex with her. And I did it on a regular basis. And he admitted it. But what happened was the new prosecutor, 10 years later, right 2 days before the statute of limitations was about to run out, he filed charges against him in that case based on the testimony that he had given in that civil case. So that's what the charges were based on, the testimony that he gave. That kind of
negated the deal.
So the Supreme Court today saw the whole series of events, and they were like, he was given immunity. He was promised not to be prosecuted by a different prosecuting attorney.
Right.
And then the other guy came along. Of course, it had picked up momentum at that time. There were a lot of women coming forward. Wow. All of the other cases, the statutes of limitations had run out. All of the other cases. So this was the last one. There were 2 days left until the statute of limitations ran out on this. And the guy was like, fuck it, I'm going to file it. They filed it. They prosecuted him once. They got a hung jury. They prosecuted him a second time. He got convicted, and 3 to 10 years. He's been in for 2.5.
Right.
And he just got out. His behavior was not leading towards parole at all. He was refusing all treatment, he wouldn't admit to anything. He was sitting in prison and denying that he had done anything wrong and was not atoning himself at all. And so they were, he was going to have to ride out his sentence. He wasn't getting out early.
That's so wild. And right there, the article says, more than 60 women came forward.
A shitload
That's,
of women.
dude, look, it's not like 4 women 30
Right.
years ago.
Right.
That's like 2 football teams
Right.
of women
Yeah.
that came out, and he's like, yeah, I did that shit.
It's insane what a beloved figure he was prior to
Oh
that.
my God.
I mean, now, obviously, anyone who's heard about him now knows him for what he's famous for now.
Right.
But at that time, he was Jell-O pudding. He was Coca-Cola. He was Cliff Huxtable. He was Fat Howard. He was all of the characters and voices and things that he did. He was as pure and innocent and as he was referred to as America's dad.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, and I think of the fall of some of the best people that were alive in my lifetime, the people that I admired most. The only person I could think of that would have a similar fall would be if Michael Jordan was somehow to, come across as that. But that's as bad of a thing as you can do and be. What he was doing, and I think it's it's just crazy. I watched the fall of Lance Armstrong, and I think to me that
Lance was pretty rough. I mean, granted, Lance Armstrong was an interesting athlete because he was a cyclist, and people around here are just like, don't, man, just ride a bike. But at the same time, then he had the cancer
Tour de
thing.
France 7 fucking times in a row.
I get that, but we're in America. No one cares.
They cared at that time.
At that time.
And for that brief period while he was winning it, we were like, we got an American that's going over there and winning your biggest event. And we loved it. We loved making
one
that
guy.
brag.
There's one dude in America that wants to ride his bike, not in the bike lane and hold up traffic.
Man.
He wants to go the fuck over there, and we want him to go there.
And he had beaten cancer, and they were accusing him of all these things. He was coming up. He was testing.
Can you remember a time prior to Lance Armstrong where anyone wore a rubber bracelet for any fucking thing?
No,
they sold a bajillion rubber bracelets.
No, he and the thing is, you look back on that, and he, at the time, there were people that were saying you're committing the biggest fraud in the history of the country, and people don't realize it. And he would be like, "Who the do you think you are talking to me like?" He would be in news conferences, and people would say, "I know you are guilty. I can't prove it yet, but I know you are." And he was, man, if you listen to the stories of what they had to do to transfuse their blood and ship out their bad blood and putting good blood in their body to get the test and then put the bad blood back in. I mean, it was fucking nuts with these guys.
That's like what China does in the Olympics. They just like...
Yeah, but he's under a microscope, man. And they're fucking, and he's like in trains, moving trains, like doing blood transfusions and shit to fucking get away with this. And I'm all along, I don't give a fuck about cycling. I don't know one other person that rides a bike besides that guy. He's the only one I fucking know. Guy. And I was like, this guy's fucking amazing. I was so proud of him. I was like, this American is going over to fucking France. Their biggest thing is this bike race. And he's fucking winning it again and again. They're accusing him of all this shit. And in my mind, I think steroids. I'm thinking of big. I'm like, you can look at him. He doesn't look like he's on steroids.
Like let's just say you ride a bike, and let's just say you come get a couple shots. How much better are you at riding that bike?
Well, here's what he was doing. He was putting things in his blood. See, that bike race goes through high altitude.
Right.
And he was putting things in his blood that made it so that he could function better physically at high altitudes than the people he was riding against. So when the race would start out,
I wonder
It
how
was
far
a huge
ahead.
difference.
Huge
It
difference?
allowed him to win it 7 times in a row. He would not.
Yeah, but like, where was second place? How far away was that guy?
Way away. Way away. There was nobody close. What would happen is, honestly, they'd hit the part of the race where they'd be going uphill for miles. And he would take off.
And just smoke him.
And nobody could even. And they'd say every year, they go, okay, well, he's not even ahead right now. He's like in third place. But we all know what's going to happen when he hits the altitude part. He's going to take off, and he did every year. And that was the part that he was putting something in his blood, not typical steroids, not like pumped up Arnold Schwarzenegger steroids, but steroids that allowed him to ride his bike and have more cardiovascular benefit than, and he was smoking them. I mean, he would, the pack is pretty thick when you're talking about world-class athletes.
There was a bunch of cyclists in there for sure.
And then he'd be gone, and they couldn't keep up with him.
Huh.
And they're like that. And the thing is, they're all taking steroids too. They're all doing it. And they're looking at him, and they're like, I'm taking steroids, and this guy's smoking me. He's got to be taking them also.
That's so crazy.
And he wasn't getting caught. He was getting away with it. And then when he retired, they were like, well, that's it. He's retired. They're never going to catch him now because he's done.
Yeah.
But they did. And ultimately, he ended up having to admit it because he was going to be, and he's being sued by all the companies that gave him money. I mean, the fucking post office gave him like $250 million.
What? No.
Yeah, his bike team was sponsored by the U.S. Post Office.
Really?
Yeah, no shit, man. They gave him money based on the fact that they thought he was doing this shit legitimately.
He says he once faced a $100 million lawsuit from the U.S. federal government. Rip 7 Tour de France. Armstrong was also sued by the U.S. government for $100 million in 2013. That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. It's sad, man. I was upset. I was like, I believed in this guy.
Dude, imagine opening a letter saying you're being sued by the government for $100 million.
I mean, I think based on what he did and the people he deceived, one of the worst criminals in American history.
First of all,
he didn't go to jail either.
No, he didn't go to jail. The Postal Service has operated in a deficit for a long time.
Right.
How mad should we be that they spent $33 million on one guy to ride a bike? And not only did he ride a bike, he didn't deliver any mail.
Right.
Look, man.
He didn't.
Look, Paperboy was out. Just give him some papers, man.
I mean,
shit.
That
was the game. He was the fastest in the Paperboy game.
He's the fastest Paperboy.
Shit, $32 million. That motherfucker should deliver some mail.
More than that, but
it says $32.3 million paid. That's a lot.
Nowadays they get like. I always think everybody's getting $3 million.
Says it settled for $6.65 million. Yeah. Federal government only received $5 million in the suit, so he paid him back $5 million. I mean.
And that's not all that he made. I mean, that was one sponsor of many. I mean, he had all kinds of people that were behind him. And he had all kinds of people accusing him of shit. And he got away with it all the time. He got away with this for years. And I hated to see him fall. I was proud of the fact that he was winning that race again and again.
Right.
And the cancer, the whole thing, man. I just thought it was amazing. And now he's living in Austin, Texas. He does a podcast, and so that's where he is. That was the fall. But there's been a lot of them. There have been some guys that you think
are untouchable.
Would
or they just look.
They have great image.
Well,
I'll be honest. I'm a piece of shit. There's nothing. Nobody would be surprised about anything they hear about me. They're like, that's exactly what I expect. That's exactly what I expect. But for guys like that, people look up to them, and they're
Oh man, that's wild.
I'm
having a technical hold on. So
right.
My camera's kind of it's having a technical issue on the GoPro or something. But yours is fine. It's just mine that's acting up for no reason.
That's surprising.
I know, right?
I would think I'd be breaking the camera. I'm always surprised. I'm always
would
surprised
think
that a
so.
camera can stay on me without
I mean, the screen's getting worse every time I look.
right. Not an attractive guy.
Yeah, I don't know
There's not
what's
much
happening
screen.
with my plug-in. I'm trying to sort through this for some reason. I see it on one end, but not on the other. Oh, I know what it is. It's because I got this up probably. Sometimes it doesn't like it when I have both of them up. So I might just have to come back to this and let
Whatever
this
works.
thing run. Yeah, whatever works. But that's all. That's all gravy.
So
I'm not worried about
so
that.
And not only is he out, but the ruling by the court said that he is not allowed to be prosecuted again for they are not allowed to retry him no matter what. So he's out. That's free.
wild.
He's 83. He's, from what I understand, he's blind, and I don't know. Is he bookable? Is some comedy club out there gonna fucking let him get up on stage and?
I don't know.
I mean,
man.
can you imagine the heckles? I mean, he's going to have to deal. I don't see him. Felicia Rashad, who was his wife in that show, said that this was justice for him to get out. She felt like it was. I don't know. I mean, he knows what he did. He testified to it. He doesn't think that was a crime. In his mind, drugging women and then raping them while they're under the.
Well, that's not
felony.
Lance Armstrong, but yeah, you're talking about. We circle back to Bill Cosby. Honest, there. I was still thinking Lance Armstrong. I'm like, wait a second. Oh, this got real dark.
No. Drugging women, Bill Cosby. They can't prosecute him. He's out. He's
no,
free.
That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cancel this one and come back to this one here in a second so I can fix my thing over
Oh,
here. We're still
okay.
live on the other channel though. It's all good. We're all good, man.
Whatever's work.
But what topic do you have?
I got a bunch, man. I got a couple.
I'm
More.
excited.
This is my first one.
There we go. I'm all back. We're all back.
Our former president.
Our former president. Wait. Which former president?
Our former president, the Donald,
The Don.
tried to get the Justice Department to make Saturday Night Live stop making fun of him. That's fucking great.
That is great.
That is great that it bothered him that much. I think that's great that it bothered. How could that bother? In my opinion, look, people make fun of me all the time. Everywhere I go. People I don't even know. I know, and once in a while, people will be bold enough to make fun of me in a way that they think they can say it to my face, and I won't know that they're making. Like, people will be like, "Hey, man, I really like your mullet,"
Right.
and I know that what they really wanted to do is make fun of the fact that I have a mullet, and they wanted to act like they like it so that I wouldn't get mad or be a psycho or whatever they think might happen. But I don't care.
Right.
But he got the Justice Department to try to prosecute Saturday Night. I don't know he's your guy.
Hey, whoa. Calm down. I wouldn't say he's my guy. I would say that I enjoyed the Donald Trump presidency. I would say that.
Which he was still president.
Yeah. I mean, look, if we had to pick between the two, definitely. Because Biden's crazy. He's creepy. He's not all there. I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing? What's happening right now? Kamala Harris is talking about going to the border. She's never been to the border. And they're like, I don't go to the border.
She went.
She went to on the border, probably. She had some tacos.
She went to the border.
Where'd she go? What part of the
went to
border?
El Paso.
She went to El Paso. She probably went to Austin and called it the border.
She
Let's
went to
be
El
honest.
Paso.
Joe Biden got a lot of flack for whispering in the microphone.
I don't know what he's man.
was whispering.
I ain't no Joe Biden fan. That just to me, that's just evidence to me of how bad Trump was, and that's the honest truth. When people say that, when people are like, "Well, how would he lose to Joe Biden? Joe Biden sucks." Yeah, I don't think anyone would disagree. I think all of our government sucks, in my opinion. They all suck. They don't do anything. They're not going to do anything. They claimed 2 days ago they had a deal on infrastructure. I've heard that again. First of all, I've been listening to that my whole fucking life. They've been saying it my whole life. We're gonna do infrastructure. We're gonna rebuild.
You said that the last time you were here.
Yeah, they've been talking about. And then Biden goes up. He's like, "We got a deal. We're gonna do infrastructure." And then the next day they're like, "No, we don't have a deal.
We're not
doing it now."
We don't have a deal because he wanted to sneak in some other shit. He wanted to sneak in a whole bunch of. Oh, this is part. He said we have a deal only if quid pro quo. And that's fucked up.
Well, what he said was, I'm going to sign this partial deal. It's part of what I want that I've got agreement on, but I'm only going to sign the partial deal if I also get all the other things passed through reconciliation. Right. They could pass this thing without Republican support. They could get it done because budget reconciliation allows Congress to pass with a simple majority. So the Senate can pass it with just the 51 votes that they have, the Democrat votes. So they don't need Republican support. But the problem is when you do something like that and you don't have any support from the other party, the country gets mad. A big portion of the country is like, God damn. But honestly, we should be mad anyway. This should already be done. Why is anybody opposed to making the country updated? We need to update everything. Why? I don't
know that anyone's. I don't know that they're opposed to infrastructure. I think it's much like the COVID relief bills. I think it's like, all right, yeah, we all need something to happen, and they're like, yes, the government says we need it to happen. We need it. However, we also need $30 million for this museum, and we're like, well, what does that have to do with COVID? Well, look, we just put it in there because we've been needing it, and we're already here. We showed up. We got like a bunch of people here, so let's just vote on it. And then they just sneak stuff in. So they're doing the same thing, I feel like, with infrastructure, where they're going, all right, here's this great bill that's going to help. We need it. But also...
The roads are shit.
Oh, dude, the roads are shit. Well, first of all, there's no better time to talk about... and this isn't exactly infrastructure. However, you can't just have a building fall down. And then tell me...
the building just fell down.
The building just fell down. Has that ever happened in the history of our country?
A building of that size just falling over.
Yeah,
I don't think.
No, we've had some bridges.
Not that I remember. I mean, if it's happened, I'm sure some structures have collapsed.
I'm sure structures. Yeah, we're talking like bridges that don't make it.
With live people living in it, actively going in and out of it every day, and then in the dead of night, while people are in their bed, the building just falls apart. That's fucking horrible.
It's insane. I saw the article. And
that's got to be the worst way to die. The thing that even first, I don't understand why they can't find any of the people.
Oh, dude, because you crushed. Dude, you're crushed. You know how big that building was?
I've tried to watch as much of it as I can. I've seen a couple pictures.
It is almost the same.
They got like 100 people sifting through the fucking rubble every day.
Yeah, but
all days, 24 hours a day.
Those buildings are like solid concrete. They're built up.
I used to build them.
And so when that thing comes down, I mean, it's like a smaller 9/11 over there. I mean, in a way, that building coming down, it's just a smaller. Just centralized, and
right.
You just
I get all that. I get all that.
Can't move that shit.
I get all that, but they've got they got cranes, they got guys, they got hundreds of guys.
Dude, you got a crane to move. Dude, go pick up a rock outside, man. It's just heavy. You know, and there's a person under it. Yeah. Shit, it's great because when it first started, it said 1 dead. And I was like, what? That's not real. 1 dead.
Well,
like
all
half
dead.
the building, they're all dead.
The 150 people, there's 150 missing still. I think now they found like 16 of them.
Yeah,
but to me, if that's what's going to happen, I'd rather go in the fall. I don't want to be alive in the fucking rubble.
No, you're right about that.
Die buried alive. That's got to be one of the worst ways to die. There was a hitman. I don't remember who it was, but there was a hitman. He got arrested. He was in jail. And he wanted to make the prosecutor, he put out a hit on the prosecutor that put him in jail. And he was going to have the guys bury him alive and give him a 2-week supply of oxygen so that he was buried, knew he was going to die, but would be alive for 2 weeks buried. Just take the oxygen off. Let me just die. I don't want to be 2 weeks buried alive. Buried alive and eaten alive. Those are the 2 ways I don't want to die.
Yeah, eaten alive would be horrible.
Eaten
alive. You ever watch just like National Geographic? Like I'm on Instagram, like Nature is Metal, and it's just like vicious nature. I mean, look, this is real. This happens like this is what the world is. We just live in our own concrete jungle where we don't see it, but it happens every day. And we're like, oh, the chickens, and you got to be good to the cat. Look, man, out in the real world where those animals just live, it's vicious. And you'll see them, like, I'll see, like, some wildebeest get mauled by some lions, and then the lions get like distracted. Something comes over, and then the wildebeest gets up and runs off with his guts hanging out. And you're like, that thing was getting eaten, and it just got up and walked away.
Right.
Like, holy shit. But could you imagine getting eaten alive? There's a dude that got swallowed by a whale. We didn't get fully swallowed.
He got spit out.
Got spit out.
The whale's throat is not big enough to swallow him.
I mean, it is if he crunches them. I don't know.
They say that I mean, I've read that the whale's throat is only like that big around because he just eats like plankton and shit.
Yeah. But that'd be crazy, dude. Just get eaten alive.
I saw a kick-ass video of a tiger down at the river's edge. He's going to drink some water, and a fucking gator comes out, grabs him, drags him underwater, splashing. The tiger comes out of the water with the alligator in his mouth.
Shit.
And it said, learn to fight outside of your environment.
Fuck.
And that's the gator pulled him into the water. And he got in the water and he's
said,
like,
not fucking today.
Not today, bro.
I saw a meme that said tigers have in the back of their ears, they have a pattern that looks like eyes so that predators would be less likely to attack them from behind. And the comment was, I am less afraid of tigers, but I am 1,000 more times afraid of whatever the fuck a tiger considers a predator.
Right. What the fuck? Who attacks a tiger?
Who attacks a tiger?
What the fuck is nobody.
I don't know. Nothing attacks a tiger.
Nobody.
Fucking other tigers. That's the only thing.
Yeah. No,
Jesus.
I mean, exactly.
This is going to be really off on a tangent, but did you ever see that documentary? It's called Roar. I would say it's a movie, but kind of a documentary. It's called Roar. You can watch it on YouTube. And it's about, what is her name? She's an actress. I'm going to look it up. Roar movie. 1981 film. She's an actress. Her name is, hold on. Give me a second. What is her freaking name?
While you're doing that.
Melanie Griffith.
Okay. All right.
Melanie Griffith, her father.
Don Johnson's girlfriend.
Her father
Big Don
lived, and she grew up in pretty much like the jungle, South Africa, with a bunch of big cats. They had big cats. They just roamed the house. They lived in her house. I'm gonna pull up, dude. I can't even make this up. Look at the and she got bit by one of them. It was the most dangerous movie ever filmed ever.
Oh wait.
Right here.
Now, is this the movie where the tigers got, or the lions got hungry and they just like invaded the house? They didn't roam the house.
No, they did. They lived in the house. They had free access to the house. This is the house. They and there was a couple incidences where people got like it was all on screen. None of the lions or none of the animals were trained. They were all wild cats. And it wasn't just lions. It was tigers. It was fucking, look, that's her real picture. That's in their house. This animal, her at the pool when she was young, Melanie Griffith there spitting water in this tiger's mouth. She grew up with them. And when you watch clips of it, dude, I can pull up a clip. It's fucking madness. And they show like her family coming to like visit and like no one's home. And they're in there and the freaking cats come back from like hunting. It's fucking crazy. And they just start like going after them. They're like, oh, who's home? Who's here? And they want to see it, and it is so freaking crazy. But you can watch, if people want to watch the movie, you can watch the entire thing on YouTube. I'm pretty sure I've watched it on here before. 150 untrained lions, tigers. There was black panthers, dude. There was so freaking many cats in the movie. It was ridiculous.
So it's a movie about her actual life?
Yeah, no, her actual life. Yeah. So, like, this is, like, real. Like, this guy got fucked up a little bit, and they got stitches, and people got cut up, and they got semi-mauled. But this is in the house, right here. And so they filmed the documentary. This is where they actually lived. It wasn't, like, fake. This is them trying to get little boats across the river. The cats just jump in the boats, and now they're in the water. They can't get out of the fucking water. And this thing, look at them. That's not, like, a trained animal that's fucking with this guy. These are untrained animals. They're wild animals.
That's insane.
And they filmed this movie. Look at this. They're fucking getting him, and he got fucked up, and people, no one died, but it was considered to be the most dangerous movie ever made because of just the
I don't really,
imminent danger.
I don't really. I guess I probably am gonna have to watch
Look at
it
this.
to.
Yeah, they're like walking
understand
in the
what the fuck.
house.
I
and
saw a
looking for
movie when I
him.
was a kid about this family that lived in, I guess, Africa somewhere, and the lions were running out of food supply or whatever, and they kind of surrounded their house.
No, that's not what this is. Because
And
her
they
dad's like out there. He had a bunch of other animals too, but there was a freaking boatload of freaking wild cats, dude. It's insane to watch and be like, that's real. Like those animals, when first of all, when we watch a movie, you're like, it's a movie. But this is filmed in 81 and there's no CGI. This is just they just went down there and had all these big cats and they're like, fucking send it. It's crazy. He'd walk to like town and you have two Bengal tigers following into town.
I'm not real crazy about
crazy.
wild animals that can kill me being near me. I don't want them near me. I'm just saying, like, even your dog. I know.
He's the pal, man.
Everyone always is like, oh, he's my dog. He's cool. He's fine. And I'm like, he's cool right up until the moment he decides not to be cool, and you don't know in his mind when that moment could be. And I'm not just talking about your dog, but I'm talking about dogs in general, animals that are big and strong and have the ability, if they chose to kill you.
Right.
If they wanted to. And I know that everyone that owns those kinds of dogs always talks about how gentle they are, always talks about how nice they are, but they do kill people. A few times a year, a kid will get mauled or whatever, a pack of them. I don't necessarily know what triggers it.
Right.
I've been attacked by a dog. I know what that was like. It was absolutely terrifying. One of the worst experiences of my life. And I just, the idea of an animal, because you can't reason with it.
No.
You can't, you're in a fight. You're in a fight with a guy and you're starting to get your ass kicked. You can make an appeal to the guy's general.
You're like, listen,
all right, man. You
clearly winning.
Made your point. I now agree with you.
That's fair.
And that's with a human, but with an animal that's decided it wants to either just kill you because it's annoyed by you, or eat you. And it's like, I'm gonna eat you. One of my favorite stories ever about this guy, this uncle took his nephew to the beach. And while his nephew's out in the water, a shark came up and bit his arm off. And the fucking uncle dove into the water, caught the shark with his bare hands, brought the shark ashore, cut the shark open, drove the kid and the arm to the hospital and got the arm reattached to the body. And I'm like, man, motherfucker, that motherfucker.
Breaking news, Marshall Holmes actually knows Chuck Norris.
Dude,
if that's not a fucking Chuck Norris story, I don't know what is.
I'll throw a little Chuck Norris knowledge out there. When I was 9 years old, we took karate at the Chuck Norris Studios in Hilltop, Virginia Beach. And Chuck Norris, who was not nearly the star that he was now, he'd been in a couple movies. He was semi-famous. He had a Chuck Norris Karate Studios in Virginia. We signed up. We took lessons. His brother Aaron ran the place, and he showed up and let all of us beat him. So I might be one of the only people in the whole world that has actually beaten Chuck Norris.
You said that on live. I'm out of it. He's going. My door is about to get kicked off the hinge.
Any second.
Any second now, you are actually going to be dead.
He knows I whooped his ass. Too. If he was to hear this, if Chuck is out there, you're still out there, Chuck.
Oh, shit.
I was 9 years old. I was one of about 50 kids that day that took your ass to the mat, and I know you remember it. But my brother did too. My brother was there. We both signed up.
Man. I thought I was legitimately afraid of 150 tigers, but now I'm really fearing for Chuck Norris. So hopefully, we're gonna need a VPN or something.
If he wants a rematch, if he thinks he's up for it.
We were just talking about celebrity fights, man. You're gonna get a boxing match. Marshall Holmes versus Chuck Norris. 9-year-old Marshall Holmes shows up.
Let him know I'm still out here. I'm even more qualified than I was at 9 years old.
Yeah,
I know more tactics. No, but he let us all foot sweep him, and I had no idea what kind of star he was going to turn into, and I certainly had no idea what all the Chuck Norris things that started coming out. Oh, Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups. He pushes up the world and all that shit. Chuck Norris, and I didn't realize that was all what was going to come out. And then I thought, well, it makes my story almost less believable because of what he's turned into. But it is what it is. We were kids. We took the class. We got to foot sweep him. I mean, it was nice.
It'll be on your tombstone.
Yeah, I mean,
Marshall Holmes, father, podcaster, comedian. He lived free. He died free, free as fuck. And then at the bottom, real small, foot swept Chuck Norris.
Foot swept. Foot swept his ass.
Foot swept his ass.
Foot swept his ass.
3 days later, there's rubble where that.
Right. He couldn't even. I mean, he couldn't even recover.
So what else you got? We talking about.
I mean, how controversial do you want to get?
All of it. Bring on the controversy because I need it.
All right. Well, I got 3 more decent ones.
All right.
Critical race theory. Yeah, you said controversial.
Hey, look, I haven't even been following it, but I should because it's like a thing now, and it's in our schools, and I should pay attention to it because they're going to teach it to my kids, and I'm going to have to explain some shit.
Well. First of all, does anybody clearly know what it is?
No.
I'm
going to Google. What's Google say?
Here's what I think when I hear these kinds of things. It's kind of to me like when people talk about socialism, and they try to scare the shit out of everybody about socialism, and they're like, "We're fighting socialism." And we can't have socialism. And we already have socialism. So I know that people, I feel like people don't even know what something actually is before they get all riled up about it. I don't know what critical race theory is. I have heard people talk about it a lot. I have heard every single person in the world is worried that critical race theory is suddenly being introduced to the schools. I don't know what it is. I'd like to know. Anytime I don't know about something, I like to learn about it.
I don't know exactly what I mean.
What's it say?
Let's see. The definitions. Critical race theory 1994 is a collection of critical stances against the existing legal order from a race-based point of view. A co-founder of the theory defined in 2017 a collection of activists and scholars interested in studying. Let me tell you. I don't know. We can read this over here in just a second. I can tell you what people who definitely don't know all about it will tell you it is. They will tell you that it is the belief that it is not okay to be white. That is what has been told to me in layman's terms.
Right.
I'm not sure okay.
That is what people are being told.
Right.
But I don't think that's what it is.
No, it's clearly, this is one of those cases where somebody, this is obviously not new. It says here in 1994, it was that was when Roy L. Brooks defined critical race theory.
27 years ago.
It's a long time ago. And in 2021, we have decided now that we're going to take it and mold it into something that fits the narrative of today's social climate. And this is what it is.
It's being used to piss people off.
I've definitely seen plenty of teachers going up on social media in front of school boards saying they're not going to teach it. It's wrong. The thing that we need to understand is that we don't have to have some sort of specific educational platform like this. You just need to teach kids not to be an asshole to other kids for any reason.
Well, here's
because look, if you grew up, Marshall, in a home that was adamantly racist, period. You don't like people because of their religion or their color. You are just ignorant to people. That's how you were raised. At no point is critical race theory going to change your mind. But at some point, you need to change those kids' minds and stop being an asshole to anybody. And you can't go around making up, news. Look, no one's gonna pay.
Well, I don't even know. I honestly don't know enough about what it state. I believe it's being overhyped as to what it is doing. I believe it's being overhyped as to the impact it's going to have. I believe people can learn and digest information and decide for themselves what they think of that information.
So
I think this generation is very smart. My son's part of it, so I know him. I see him.
I wouldn't wrap the whole generation up in it. I've seen TikToks.
Well, but they got their own way, man.
They got their own way. So this is what I Google. What is critical race theory for dummies? It is an academic movement of civil rights scholars and activists in the United States who seek critically examine the U.S. law as it intersects with the issues of race in the U.S. to challenge mainstream. So if we were to take that definition solely, so what that definition says, we want to take the legal standpoint that would be unjust toward a particular race or is more biased toward a particular race and alter that. So, and the only issue I have with it, and really I would say what this piggybacks on police brutality and obviously the injustice toward Black African Americans in our country who are, make up majority of incarcerated people in our country for crimes that maybe they shouldn't have to be incarcerated for at this point.
The worst criminals in this country are the people who run this country.
Well, I know you say that. They're not in jail though, so it doesn't matter.
Well,
what matters is the fact that we want to examine the law and just find if the law is inherently racist. That's what this is saying. Is the actual legal standpoint in our country racist toward a particular group of people? Is the law determined to be racist? Now, I don't know that I would say that the laws are written based on of ethnicity at all. I mean, I don't think you could find one.
I'll give you examples of when that's been presented.
Okay.
For example, cocaine versus crack.
Okay.
Cocaine was seen as a drug that was used by affluent white people.
Right. Okay.
Crack cocaine was seen as a drug that was used by the minorities in low income areas.
Okay.
Let's just, now I don't want to say slum, whatever, but crack was, there were crack houses. That was a big, I went to a crack house when I was probably 18 years old. I had a friend, we were in the military together. He took me to the crack house that he went to. I was in that fucking place and I was forced to smoke crack. And I knew that if I did not smoke crack, that I was going to die in that fucking crack house. Because there were people in there looking at me. He was like, "Hey man, you want to smoke?" And I was like, I did not want to. But I looked around the room and I was like, if I don't smoke this crack, these people are going to fucking kill me. So yeah, I was in a crack house and I smoked crack. The penalties from the law for the use of crack versus cocaine are massively different.
100 to 1.
And the way that they're enforced is massively different. And the way that they are pursued in terms of the amount of crime that's involved in all aspects, the purchasing, the assembly of, all of that, there was a massive disparity. There were people that were committing the exact same crime with cocaine than people that had crack. Apparently what crack is, and I'm not a crack expert, but it's a version of cocaine that had some other elements added to it, and instead of being ground up into a powder, it's in a rock, and you smoke it instead of sniffing it, but it's the same high, I guess.
So this is drugpolicy.org. What's the difference between cocaine and crack? And it says here that the difference is only in the way they are taken. The pharmacological differences between them are 0. They are the same if you were to put them side by side. However, up until 2010, the sentencing disparity was 100 to 1, which means that while just 5 grams of crack would carry a 5-year mandatory minimum, it would also take 500 grams of cocaine to trigger the same 5-year sentence. While the law was changed in 2010, there continues to be a disparity of 18 to 1. So we can look at this and say, why did that happen? And here's, I guess, probably where it gets, you're walking on an edge, because I understand that the demographic that was targeted with crack cocaine would be low income, impoverished areas, but it's not solely black people. But they were highly affected by it. Now, if you were in a crack house smoking crack with a white guy, a black guy, an Asian guy, whoever, a Latino, and the police come in, do you all get the same sentence? And that, honestly, has absolutely nothing to do with crack cocaine, and it has everything to do with the inherent flaws in the justice system across the board as to whether or not you serve the same sentence as the person next to you.
The comparison that I would make is if the crack house is busted and the cocaine house is busted, are those two busts going to include the same penalty?
Not I can tell you this much. The guy who distributed the most cocaine probably in the history of cocaine built his own fucking prison to serve his own sentence in. So it's not the same.
Right. No, it's
now the end game was the same. They all end up dead in the end. But
yeah, you're going. Yeah.
You know, the end game is the same. But that's one small thing. So, but critical race theory, I think, as a whole, is just being taken to a different level in the way that we are trying to teach it to children.
I think it's in the way it's being presented. I don't think it has the negative impact that people think. I believe that you can teach. I believe in the truth. People should be able to hear the truth, whatever the truth is. You lay out the facts, and we don't teach history based on the truth in this country. I know the things I learned in school were lies. There's no other way you can say it. There's no other way. We came.
What we learned was lies.
They were lies. They were lies. We learned lies.
Listen, you watch Bill Nye just like me.
We believe.
And you watch freaking Reading Rainbow, okay? They didn't lie to me.
We were taught nothing about the way that we treated the people that were on this country, in this country, living here before Europeans got here. Europeans got here, and we just murdered them and pushed them out of the way like they weren't human.
But then
and treated them like animals. And when I was a kid watching TV, they were still marginalized characters in shows.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And in movies,
it's an entire race of people that we just
murdered.
Pretty much, it was damn near genocide of them, and then the ones that were left were like, you can stay. Here. Yeah, you can stay in this little area.
And they're like, don't leave it because if you and we're not going to give you anything to survive on it. You better figure it out.
Crazy. How crazy? You better figure it out. How crazy is that? That's crazy. Not only did it happen, but we celebrate it every year.
And we acted like we were friends with them.
Yeah.
You know, I was presented, the information I was presented as a kid was, we got here, there were maybe some skirmishes here or there. We fought over little areas, but for the most part, we came together and realized we all were humans and we shared this great holiday together. And that's all bullshit. That's all bullshit. We should not even really celebrate Thanksgiving anymore. I love the weekend. That's one of my favorite holidays. The meal itself is amazing. Right. I love the food.
For some reason, it's like the only time of year you got a whole fucking turkey and you cook a whole fucking turkey. You don't cook a turkey ever in your life except for that weekend. Show me one other time where you've been like, hey, what do you want for dinner? Hey, go to Kroger and pick up a fucking turkey. We're going to have
some people have it for Christmas.
Bullshit.
Some people
have a turducken. They'll shove some shit in the turkey, man. Out fucking hand. I don't know, man, but it's the only time it's definitely a turkey holiday, which is crazy.
Families come together. It's a Thursday, so typically you're going to have Friday off, Saturdays, and so it's a 4-day holiday basically. Right. It's leads into Christmas. People used to like to, and every family comes together. We all as a child, for me, all of my cousins showed up. All of my aunts and uncles showed up. All of my grandparents showed up, all in one fucking house.
Right.
All of us together, and just
Celebrated
having so
the
much
death of so
fucking
many
fun.
people.
And it was really made up. I don't believe that any pilgrims ever got together with a bunch of Indians and fucking celebrate, or you know, and that's what it was presented. And first of all, there was no word Native American. It was we were told the pilgrims and the Indians,
Right.
which
They're not Indians.
They're not Indians.
They've never been Indians.
They were never
Not
Indians.
one time in the
right. No, I'm
history
saying
of
that's what it
Indians.
was taught. That's the way it was taught. Was that
It
the
is.
pilgrims and the Indians
It's still
all
taught
loved
that
each
way.
other? They're still teaching that.
Yes.
See, that's a fucking lie. That's not the truth. So, and that's why, man, I fucking hate our government. Just lies about everything all the time. And the thing is, they don't even want it to be resolved. They just want everyone fighting about that kind of shit so that they can steal everything they possibly can from every citizen. They murder people. We kill people all the time. Our government murders. Somebody was like telling me the other day, I got an argument on Facebook. Somebody was telling me that, slavery ended such and such.
There are more slaves right now, currently in the world. There is more people enslaved currently than ever in history.
This is what I believe.
Real time.
I believe they turned all of us into slaves.
Oh, I know. And you know what? Your argument for that is very valid.
I
and
really do
one
believe
thing
that.
that shows it is this right here. This is the number one reason unemployed Americans aren't looking for work, is because and this is look, I don't like polls. I don't like polls at all, because I think polls, they ask like 5 people and then 30% disagree. But this is 5,000 people polled on Indeed, which is a job search network, that said the reason they are not going back to work or looking for work is because they are afraid they're going to get COVID. That is their reasoning. The response to that is, well, the government is going to pull all of the unemployment support, so they'll have to go back to work.
Right.
And your take on it is very much that is when you say that they've found a way to enslave us all, that is that to a T. Right. Oh, by the way, you're scared you might go back and get something and die or kill your family. Okay, well, that would be
make you do it.
First of all, 2 years ago, if you had said, I feel like if I went and got a job, I would get sick and I would kill my family or I might die, people would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Go get a damn job. Then COVID happened. They were like, all right, stay home. You might get sick. You might kill your whole family. And now they're going, that was real. A lot of people died. However, we're not giving you any money and you need to go get a fucking job. Whatever you can do, just go do it. There's plenty of people hiring. And some wages went up. Some wages may have not went up. Some jobs disappeared. But the government is basically saying, we don't care. Go to work. It's time to go to work. And at the same time, it's crazy that we've created this huge ordeal around the COVID thing and all the stuff that's coming out as time goes on. And eventually it's going to be a thing that we just go, happened. And we will be back. I think at this rate, we are going to be back to normal. The normal pre-COVID. We are very fastly getting there.
Well, maybe, and we'll talk about the another element to that, but just going back to what you're saying, my belief is that they have figured out a way to enslave people without them even being aware that they are enslaved, and that was what the argument I had with the person on Facebook was. She said slavery ended, and I said no, slavery has not ended. They didn't. Look, you think that the people that owned slaves wanted to free them? What? Why would they? They didn't want to. They didn't have to do anything. Right. They just had slaves do everything. So the people who were like, "Hey man, this is wrong," there were a handful of people that looked at it like, "Man, you're beating people. You got these people in chains. They're living in horrible conditions. You don't have to free them. We're going to tell everyone that they're free, and we're going to figure out a way to enslave everybody, and they won't even know that they're slaves, and that's what everyone is living in now, in a world where they're being enslaved. You are
Let me
you
ask
are being
you this,
indoctrinated by the government, but with a bunch of lies that you're learning in school. You're born, you already owe money before you're even born. So you're born, you owe money. They're going to indoctrinate you to believe that you need to go to this amount of schooling, pick a career, follow that career, get that job. They're going to bury you in debt throughout your life so that your chains are what you owe, and you owe everybody.
Yeah, this is true.
And you think you're free.
What about, okay, so
And you're not.
I understand that in terms of our country. How does that relate in terms of pre-America? Because pre-America, like nobody talks about like any other civilization prior to here in terms of race and slavery like we do in America. When in fact every country and every civilization enslaved people, some that are gone, some that are definitely still here, and it was the thing. But in America, it's the most recent. However, it's the most recent thing to have happened and be abolished and go away. But meanwhile, it's still out there.
But I believe it's the racial element to it. My guess is, and I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm not,
I guess other
I'm not an
cultures-
authority on the types of slavery that existed in other
Right.
countries, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that in the majority of those situations, they were enslaving people that were just like them. It was just you were born a slave or you were born a free person.
Yeah.
But you were from that country. There wasn't the kind of movement. We're the first
Right.
country, I believe, and again, I'm not an authority on this. I'd love to know where we actually went to another country,
Nah, they definitely did that.
gathered up their people.
Yeah.
From
Rome,
from where
for
to
sure.
where? Well, yeah, okay.
Egypt,
but
for
they,
sure.
But they were
China.
literally Romans were conquering nations.
Oh yeah, they would
And-
take everybody.
And take everybody.
You die, you
They
come with
weren't
us.
they weren't hunting them down in the jungle and grabbing them and putting them on a
fucking
boat.
house.
And putting them on a boat.
They'd have to put them on a boat, Marshall. We're gonna fucking walk.
Right.
We're gonna walk till we get where we're going.
Right.
But every other, China enslaves. I mean, China still enslaves a fuckload of people. But there's. I found it kind of fascinating. The older I got, and the more I watched, documentaries or movies or just read on history, and I think, like, man. And then I look at what's happening in our country, and we said it before. I think like one of the first couple episodes, I brought up how we just brought a bunch of Chinese people over here and made them build a fucking railroad across the country.
Yeah.
Hey, let's just build a railroad.
Well, but were they slaves?
Fuck, they were as free as you, buddy.
Well,
they
saying,
couldn't stop.
Were they?
Yeah, they were.
How were they brought? Were they chained and brought over here in chains, or were they told?
I think.
Hey, we need this done. Do you want to come do it? Or did we grab them and put chains on them and bring? I'm just asking.
Yeah.
There's a difference, man. There's a difference.
I think the way they got here was the same. I mean, when you paint a picture like we just went over there and took people and chained them, I think the conquering aspect of it still existed. The selling of people. I think that people were bought from all nationalities to come over here. It was never just solely an African thing. Now, legally, I think African Americans were the only ones that they were owned legally as people. I don't know that there was ever a law saying that Chinaman or any other race was. But in terms of the slavery that you present today, if you would take that and apply it to all of history, it's been there since before that. Like, it's always been there. And there's a great show. It was on like History, or I think it's History Channel or A&E or something. It's called Hell on Wheels. And it follows one guy who was just out of the Civil War, and he was actually running from some, we call it a war crime, but it wasn't really that. He just stood up for himself on one end of the war, decided he didn't want to do that shit anymore, and he kind of, went to build the railroad. And it was his journey through the railroad, building it, and being just the guy who's in line with everyone else, hammering railroad ties to be in this form. They kind of kept putting him in these positions that he didn't want to do. He wanted nothing to do with it because he didn't want anyone to know who he was, or what he was doing there. But it was real interesting because it showed all aspects of them building that railroad from the east to the west, and the race between the two railroad companies that were doing it. It was a really good show, and I think historically it was told well. Because and that got me to thinking, like, I think my buddy had messaged me about something, and I was like, dude, what if you were alive back then? And they're like, we just abolished slavery or any law, any like major thing. How long does it take for that information to get to you? Right? Like,
I mean, yeah.
How long does it take?
Right.
Dude, right now we're like, Google it. It's on your phone.
Right.
But back then it was like that shit happened in Washington or New York, and you live in Texas.
Right.
And bro, the only way it's getting there is on a friggin' horse.
No.
Maybe.
I mean,
Maybe no one ever tells you.
Right.
That's some crazy shit.
Yeah.
To like live that thing.
I mean, they had to write it down, and somebody had to run it.
Someone had to run it there.
Somebody had to
Maybe they
run-
made it.
run the
My
mess.
kid asked me, "What did you do? What did they do?" I said, "They attached it to a bird, man. They put it on a raven, sent it to a raven.
They did do that.
They
shit.
wrote it, put it on a pigeon." He's like, "Well, how did they get there?" I'm like, "It just got there. I don't fucking know, man.
Pigeon knew two places to go.
It's
This place to this place.
A to B, man."
Yeah, that's the only
wild.
thing. I guess I don't really know how to, but I know that that's real. They would have that in shows, like as a way to communicate.
Yeah,
They'd be
man.
like,
Game of Thrones, man. Raven, send a raven, send a bunch of raven. Mike Tyson owns pigeons today.
Right.
That carry messages to other people.
I'm sure. Mike Tyson.
Hey, you watch that show, big boy? Yeah, dude. Hell on Wheels was an awesome show. It was a great show. You should watch it. It was a really good show.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah. Well, you watch movies. Consider it a long movie
Sometimes.
that you can watch in segments.
Sometimes.
He asked us, "What do you think about basketball? Do you follow basketball?"
Yeah. I mean, I know what's going on currently.
I don't.
We have somebody's asking a question
He was asking who you think's gonna win.
tonight.
I don't know. Tonight, the whole thing. I don't know what's happening. I don't follow basketball, man.
All right.
I follow the fight game.
I know.
If they want to get into it on the court,
They do.
watching it.
Sometimes they do. I'll tell you what's great. This is what's great for Atlanta.
okay.
Is Atlanta's in it. Last night they're playing the Bucks, the Milwaukee Bucks in a series.
Okay.
The winner of that will go to the NBA championship. I don't think anyone predicted that Atlanta would get this far. They have one really amazing player. And he's not even big. No, for real. We got one
amazing player.
We got one amazing player. His name is Trae Young.
Okay.
He's a very average sized guy from what I can tell. He doesn't look like which is always surprising to me when he's average. But he literally cannot, they cannot stop him.
Is basketball the only sport where like size matters? Football. There's big guys, but big guys have a distinct purpose, and they're not fast. In basketball, everyone's got to be fast. Man, you got to run, man.
Well,
I get tired thinking about
I don't
it.
know how big Shaq or how fast Shaq was. Shaq was an immovable object. He was just enormous.
Well, first of all, basketball court's not nearly as big as a football field, but Shaq could probably get across it in 7 steps. So,
and I'm saying, but
he was also good. He had one. His job is rebound, block, rebound,
and block the ball,
and slam it down the hole.
But no,
Don't
I
shoot
think the Milwaukee Bucks looks like they may have lost their best player. They have one really great player, and Atlanta, this little guy, Trae Young,
Has carried the team to this point. They beat the Knicks. They beat the Brooklyn Nets. They're about to beat the Milwaukee Bucks. It's 2-2, but the Milwaukee Bucks just lost their best player. And their best player is their whole team also. And it's 2-2. I mean, I want to see it happen because I live here and I would love to go to a championship parade. I would love, even though they usually become violent. For some reason. I don't know.
Hockey?
I don't know.
Fucking basketball and hockey.
Yeah, they turn into a
Boy,
goddamn riot.
You win, we burn.
Well, I think
You
know what it
lose,
is?
we burn.
I was talking. They destroy cars. They burn the city. It's
Hockey
weird,
and basketball.
but they do. And I was talking to a guy at work today, and we were like, "Hey, man, I'm going to go." And I was like, "I'm going. I want to be there." And he's like, "I can't go, man. I got a girl." And I know, and I was like, I understand, because it's totally different. You can go. I'm going by myself. I don't give a shit. I'm going to go. Nadine will not be here by then, probably.
Right.
And if she was, I would go without her. But if you go somewhere with your girl, he's like, man, if I go, my wife's going to want to go. He's like, I'm going to be walking around. I got to be, the whole time I'm going to be trying to protect her from whatever fucking happened, you know? And so he's like, I can't go. But for me, I want to go to a championship parade. I want to feel that. I think it would be great for the city. I think they have a real legit chance to win the whole thing. And that to me is what has got me interested. I liked it before. I was a real big Brooklyn Nets fan. I love Kevin Durant. I just like everything about him and his character. His mother is really a big part of his life. He won the MVP. And the speech that he gave when he won the MVP was one of the most moving things I've ever seen. His mother was sitting there. They obviously grew up in massive poverty. You could tell by the way he was talking to her.
Right.
And he turned to her and he was like, just so you know, Mom, you're the real MVP.
Hold on a second. I was going to show you something here.
And I just think
since we're talking about basketball, I
know you don't want to talk.
I don't follow basketball.
I'm trying to.
But I'm going to show you something, and I'm going to try to put it up on. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to put it up on the screen because I saw this on TikTok, and it is pretty fascinating to me. I'm going to let me grab a screen grab of it here real quick, and we'll pop it up on the screen because this is just people that amaze me. Right, someone made this basketball court, and this is a little homage to a player here. I'm gonna put it up.
The greatest basketball courts ever created. First, we poured the concrete. Next went up the portable basket, while my baskets were being delivered. Up went the baskets and the netting around the court. Let there be light. We added lights for nighttime hoops. We poured one layer of paint, followed by the key, and then let it dry. Next came the lines. I hired one of the greatest artists in the world to create a mural on the court. But I didn't just want any mural. I wanted a special mural. I wanted it to be different. I wanted it to blow people away. I wanted people to come to my court, to take photos, to take videos, and be amazed. After hours and hours, days and days, in the freezing cold, the mural was finished. An ode to the greatest to ever do it, to the Mamba.
Look at that freaking court, bro.
R.I.P. KB24. We miss you.
That's legit.
Wow,
that's
hardcore,
legit, man.
Where is that?
I don't know where it is, honestly. He didn't post where it was.
Right.
It's Austin Mills. I don't know if it shows.
I mean, if he
us.
wants people to go to it, he should.
Yeah, I'm sure there's. I mean, it says NBA host, TV personality, advisor. I don't know. You can probably look him up and find out where it's at. But that's man. Look, people really rally behind sports figures a lot, and I saw that and I was like, dude, that's legit.
Yeah,
that's legit. So who do you think is going to win? He wants to know.
I'm going with the Hawks. I'm saying Hawks will win this series, especially if the home team. If the main player for the Bucks, Giannis, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's Greek. His last name is long. It's got a lot of letters. I don't know. His name is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
His name looks like my Scrabble board.
It's very difficult to pronounce. I've never even heard an announcer pronounce. They just call him by his first name, and everybody knows because it's Giannis.
Right.
But his last name seems impossible to pronounce. And if he's out, I think man, I'd love to see Atlanta win the whole thing and have this one guy.
I can't think of a time when Atlanta Hawks were mentioned.
Ever. I don't think they've ever won the championship. And I think the last time they went, as far as I know, was 1969.
No shit. Is that real?
So this would be a big deal. I mean, and they've got to win 2 more games to make it. I know a lot more about football. See, we could talk.
They did win. They did win, Marshall.
Today?
Real recently. 1958.
58. There we go.
You're on a night.
And if you want to know how long ago that is, that's before I was alive. So that's a long fucking time ago.
You couldn't name one player from 1958 in any sport.
No one could. No one could. There's nobody that knows somebody that was on that team that knows the name of a player from that team.
But I'll bet you one player from that team is still alive today. You think? Could be. Could have been 22.
If there was a 22-year-old, 58 would be 40. I know.
Yeah,
he'd be in his 80s.
He could be alive, though. It's possible.
It's possible.
There could be a surviving Atlanta Hawks championship.
If there
player.
is, he should get tickets. He should get tickets to
if they make it all the way to the final game, he should be on the court. He should be throwing the basket before he checks out.
He should be the guy that whatever they do to
someone
honorary captain.
Yeah,
find that dude.
Put him out there.
Find that dude.
Put him out there. He probably hates the Hawks. They've lost everything.
He's a big fan.
That team.
He's a big fan. He's got to be
Who knows?
a lifelong fan.
I don't know.
You got to
That's
be.
funny.
You know, that's the thing, though. I think
About that, and I know that I know you hate sports.
I don't hate sports. I just find a lot of them super boring.
All right,
We're going to
well,
talk
this is
about
what
a sport. We're going to talk about a sport. We're going to transition right into this.
give me one brief.
One brief.
This is what I'll say. What I love, what I find fascinating. There are so many teams that have never won any champion. Now, you look them up in 1958.
Right.
There's teams in the NFL. There have been 53, 54 Super Bowls, 53, 54. There's teams in the NFL, several, that not only have never won the Super Bowl, have never been. So there are people that are in their 50s that have been rooting for their team all their life.
Never been.
And they've never even been to the Super Bowl. And I just, man, that is, and they go to the games dressed up in the uniform with paint on their face. They've got their car is decorated, their house is decorated. They are committed to that team on the off chance that one year, someday, before they die, their team is going to win and they're going to be able to celebrate. I just think that's amazing.
That's funny. Big Boy asked, how about his Cowboys? I'll tell you a fun fact about the Dallas Cowboys. When I was younger, when I was like in middle school, I had the starter jacket, the big puffy jacket, Dallas Cowboys to the core. I watched every Cowboys game. I was living in Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta since I was 3. It was Troy Aikman. Okay. It was Emmitt Smith. It was Deion Sanders.
Okay.
It was who else was the other? Michael Irvin. It was the dream team. It was the all-star team of fucking football.
The team was amazing.
It was amazing.
They won the Super Bowl 3 out of 4 years.
And it was awesome. And then like a couple of years after that, I just stopped watching football. But my buddy was Buffalo Bills fan. He had the Bills jacket on the bus. And
I'll throw some, you got a Dallas Cowboys fan out there, I'll throw some fucking knowledge at him.
Right.
My dad went to the Naval Academy at the same time, was not friends with him, but at the same time as Roger Staubach. I believe there was a 2-year difference between them.
Okay.
So he was at the Naval Academy at the same time Roger Staubach was there. During 2 of the years they crossed. I don't believe they were ever friends. But my dad was a career military officer. Roger Staubach had to serve 3, 4, maybe even 5 years in the Navy after he graduated before he was able to go play pro football.
Okay.
And we grew up, as a result of that tie, we grew up huge Cowboys fans. And I was a diehard, and I was living in Washington, D.C. for most of the time. So I was a Cowboys fan in Redskins territory. I got into physical fights with Redskins fans when I went to school. They would threaten my life to fight me over the fact that I would have my Cowboys jersey on, and I would not stop wearing it. I wore it anyway. I was like, I don't give a shit. Whatever you guys want to do, bring it. I'm a Cowboys fan. The only reason, as I got older, I move so often. I've lived so many places, and it was hard being a Cowboys fan in DC. When I moved down to Tampa, I was in my 30s, and I just decided, man, I'm gonna root for the local team. I want to feel what it's like to sit in a bar where the whole bar is rooting for the same team, and we're all in there, and you're high five, and it was a great, and so that's what I do now. So to the Cowboys fan, because the Cowboys hold a special place in my heart, here's what I'm going to say about this upcoming season. They've got unbelievable talent on the offensive side of the ball. Dak Prescott just signed a massive new contract for $160 million or some shit for 4 years. If he can play as well as he was playing before he was injured, and they can control the ball and keep their defense off the field, because their defense is their liability, the Cowboys have a legit shot at going to the Super Bowl. Anybody that goes is going to have to get from the NFC, going to have to get past Tom Brady, which has all been impossible. He's fucking good. He is fucking amazing. And then you're going to have to beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. But Who wouldn't want to see the Cowboys versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
Talk about your Cowboys and Indians.
There you go.
There you
got
go.
Cowboys and Indians right there.
Your Indians.
So to the Cowboys guy that's out there,
Man.
I'm with you, brother. I'm hoping, I know that Lauren is not a big sports talker, so I'm going to keep the subject tight. I would talk about it all day because I love talking sports. So keep the sports questions coming, but ask something else too, so that Lauren has something to talk about.
Oh my God. I'm going to throw this out there because I've talked about this amongst people I know, and it cracks me up. Top golf.
Golf?
Top golf.
All right.
I grew up, maybe when I was in like middle school. My mom worked at Chateau Lawn. She worked at for the Paynoses. She was like in the accounting department. So I played golf.
Okay.
A lot.
Wow.
I would just ride up in the summertime. I'd ride to work with her, and I'd play the par 3 because I played for free. She worked there, and I would play 3 or 4 rounds of golf, like at least 4 days a week. I
Wow.
played a lot
Holy
of
shit.
golf, and I would argue to people that watching golf on TV was more entertaining than baseball or football because they hit the ball lands, they cut to another guy who hits the ball. Is constantly somebody hitting the ball. Versus all the downtime in sports. I don't like the downtime watching professional sports. Throw the ball, hit the play, 4 minutes, fucking hike, let's get it, right? I like the constant go. So I would always argue that was funny to me. So I knew how to play golf pretty well. I was pretty good at it. And I haven't played in a long time. And we go to Top Golf. They just opened one up here by the mall. And I go with Megan and some of her friends. And it's like the second time I've been there. I went with my ex-wife once, and it was whatever. I didn't really pay much attention to anything around me. This time I did. I sat there. I was with like 5 people who don't play golf. And we're on the top, the second level of this thing or whatever, and they have these games that you play. You hit it in the thing, you get points.
Yeah, I've been to.
And I walk around, and I sat there, and I'm looking around, and I'm thinking, this is the most genius thing anyone could think of to get people who have zero business playing golf at all to come out here and pay a pretty good premium for food, drinks, and balls to suck so bad and somehow feel so good about it. And it blew my mind. I sat there, I'm like watching these people. I'm like, dude, there is no fucking way you would ever play golf in your fucking life. And then I watch the people I'm with just, dude, suck so hard and feel so good about it. And I was like, this is genius. And they go, well, why don't it's like golf. I'm like, it's nothing like golf.
Right.
First of all, I can hit a 9-iron to the fence at Top Golf.
Right.
That is like not exact. Like first, if we were to play real golf with any of you, none of you would have a ball. For one, you would have hit it.
Right.
It's gone.
Right.
It wouldn't have gone anywhere. You'd be so pissed
Right.
at this entire sport.
Right.
But they have done this genius thing where they've taken people and found a way to make golf fun and entertaining, even if you're absolutely fucking terrible.
Right. No, I get it.
It's amazing.
When I was in Nashville, I lived in Nashville for about a year. They had a Top Golf. Somehow we found out one night they had a hospitality night. So the golf itself, the stuff wasn't free, but the golf itself was free. If you were in the hospitality industry and could prove it, you could go to Top Golf for this one particular night, and you got a free area. The golf part was free. The food you had to pay for, whatever. Okay. But it was to encourage people. And so I went with a group of people that had never played golf in their entire lives. And they didn't know the first thing. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. They were not able to make contact with the ball.
Oh no,
they were not able. They were not able. They couldn't figure
stationary object.
They were not able to hit
the ball. Club
strike the ball.
It's amazing.
And they were, and I'm not an expert at golf by any means. I'm not. I had clubs growing up. We went for a while. My parents were trying to get my brother. They thought it would be an activity he could possibly do. He wasn't very athletic. They were like, well, maybe he can be good at golf.
Right.
So I got clubs too. Me, him, and my dad, we would go play. For about a 2-year period, we played almost every weekend. So I know enough about it. And I played other sports, so I didn't really give a shit about golf. Wasn't trying to become good at it, and I wasn't. I was not naturally, you would not look at me and be like, oh, that guy can play golf. For whatever reason, that particular night, I was crushing the ball. Straight, far. The people that were with me were like, Jesus Christ, you're fucking amazing at golf. And I was like, I'm not really. I'm really not good at golf at all. But compared to them, I was. And even around us, people were watching me, and I was crushing the ball straight and just as far as it could go. They were not able to, and I didn't realize how bad a golf swing could be
until you
until
put on the Top Golf.
Till I saw the people playing, and I was like, and there's so many things that go into a golf swing.
Yeah.
If you know anything, you obviously know.
Yeah.
There's so many parts of it. You can't teach that.
You can't teach it in right now.
Right. Well, so I tried, and then I realized I was like, I'm not. So they just did it, and they weren't even standing still. I mean, I'm sure you've seen Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
They were doing that similar type of thing where they were they were like moving their feet and like. And
Happy Gilmore at the beginning of the movie when he starts playing golf. That's every person at Topgolf in the beginning. They think they're going to just slug it, and they suck so bad at everything. It's funny because we went and they were playing the game. You get points.
Yeah.
I was like, I realized real quick that like no one around me is going to get any points.
Right.
So I just go up there and just be like, fucking smack a ball, whatever.
Right.
So we had like 4 minutes left in our thing. Like, anyone want to just go up there and just hit them? And I was like, I guess I'll just go hit as many as I can in 4 minutes. So I grab a 9-iron and I just wave it over the thing. The ball rolls out. I don't wait for the ball to stop, and I just hit it and I wave it over. I'm not even looking at where they're going. And they just wave it over. And I hit like probably 20 something balls, and I scored like 400 and something points. And the guy was with me. He's looking at me. He's like, I was like, that was pretty consistent. He's like, yeah, that was he's like, you hit like all of those like into that target out there. And I was like, well, I wasn't really trying. I mean, you guys are all doing great though. It's time to go. Let's get out of here. I was just smashing balls. But
I had a great time. Same thing. The people I was with were so bad that eventually they all just gave up. They really didn't want to do it anymore. And they were like, and so I was like, all right. And that's kind of how our night ended. I at the end, I was just standing there, wham,
man.
wham.
There's one sport that will just demoralize you, make you feel like shit's golf.
And I've never been good at it.
No one's good at it.
I mean, even the pros.
You could be a professional golfer and one bad hit and it's over.
Right.
You're done.
Yeah.
You could be fucking great until that one ball. And
right.
Fuck this.
Well, my thing is, I used to, and I think a lot of people are like this. I would play a round of golf and I'll have like 2 good shots.
Oh yeah.
During the round. Everything else was horrible. But I would, and I remember I remember of all the golf I've ever played, I do remember one particular drive that I had. I was about 12 years old, and it was like a par 4, maybe a 5. It was a long hole, and I fucking crushed it. Straight, perfect angle. The trajectory was maximum distance, and it landed perched right at the edge of a little stream.
Right.
So my next shot was gonna be, as soon as it stopped rolling, rain came just pouring buckets down on top of us, and we were like, we gotta go. And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. That was gonna be the best hole of my life. I never made a par.
I played the par 3 at Chateau Lawn relentlessly for 2 years. And my high school did not have a golf team until I was a sophomore in high school. Then they had a golf team. Our home course was Chateau Lawn par 3. So you can imagine the confidence I had going to that course to try out for the golf team, knowing I have played more rounds than any person that probably ever fucking even lives here. And I can tell you, I did not make the golf team.
That sucks.
And I was, because you just get one. Look, it only takes 1 or 2 bad shots, and you're not in it anymore.
Right.
Now you're down 4 strokes. You're just not in the game.
Yeah.
There was one hole at the very end of that. You tee off, there's a pond, and then there's the green. Everywhere else is woods. You either hit it on the green or you hit it in the water. Those are your choices. Green or water. Par 3. And if you hit it in the water, guess what? You hit it again, you're already out the game.
Right.
So there's
golf is it's not enjoyable to me. I lose like 5 balls sometimes in a hole.
Sometimes in one hole, the balls are going all over the fucking place.
That's all you have is that fucking ball retriever that gets them out of the water. If you get one of those, you come out on top. You get like, how'd you do?
Yeah.
I did great. I came back with
I came back
balls.
with more balls than I went with. That's a
And I'll tell you
great
what's
game.
funny. We'll transition into something else in a second. Jacob, my buddy Jacob, comes over and we were talking about. He goes, yeah, you ever play disc golf? And I was like, yeah, I play disc golf. I've been a few times. I bought some discs with the kids. We went to the park and figured it'd be like, it's free. Just go throw it. It's fucking Frisbee, you know? How hard? He's like, dude, yeah, I feel I'd be good at it. Like, I can throw a Frisbee. I'm like, dude, I thought I could throw a Frisbee until I played disc golf. And I realized that I can't throw a disc golf disc at all. I can throw that shit into every fucking tree in the woods.
Well, they're not a regular. I didn't even know they weren't a regular Frisbee.
No, they're very
different.
different.
They had one near where I used to live when my son and I lived in the same, somewhere in Charlotte. There was a disc golf course. And I thought, let's go buy a couple of Frisbees and go out there and play one day. My kid was young. He could throw a Frisbee. I could throw a Frisbee. We went out there. First of all, neither one of us could even throw the regular Frisbee. We couldn't. Somehow, from when I was a little kid and I was able to throw the shit out of a Frisbee, I used to be able to throw the shit out of a Frisbee. I remember there was a period of time where Frisbees became really, really popular. When I was right in my teens, they were just hugely popular. Everyone was playing Frisbee, and they had the tag. It was like a football game of Frisbee, like a rugby. Like I can't remember what it was, but there was a game of Frisbee where you ran and threw it and whatever. And there was a specific name for it. I think they have like pro teams of it now. But anyway, so we go out there and we couldn't throw it back and forth to each other. We couldn't even make a throw and a catch of the Frisbee. But I know that in Frisbee golf, and it's weird that we're mentioning this because earlier today, I saw a highlight of the World Frisbee Golf Championship. And apparently on the top 10 on SportsCenter, number 10 was the World Championship of Frisbee Golf. And it was the guy standing at the tee and he threw it and it went around a curve and it went boom and it went right into the thing. And there was like 20,000 fucking people standing around watching this motherfucker play golf. Play Frisbee golf. I was like, what in the fuck? How many fucking people are there? Because I always wonder, with any of this shit that people watch, I'm like, man, dude, you're watching a guy throw a fucking Frisbee. 20,000. The place went berserk. I mean, he did throw it. He did throw it a long fucking way. I'm not gonna lie. It was a long throw, and it went around a bend, and then it hit the thing, and it dropped right in, but all these people were fucking jumping. He's jumping, and I'm like, God damn, man! I can't believe that many people would gather. Like, hey, man, you want to go watch these guys throw a Frisbee? And they're like, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, I want to be there.
I'm in the same boat, man. I took the kids to Play It Again Sports. I'm like, we'll just get some used ones. And then we're just picking them based solely on the design on the Frisbee. Like, what color do I want? What design do I want? Right. And then, some of them are like a little different. They're all like, all right, that was $12. That was $20. I'm like, it's a $12 one. And then Megan asked the guy, she's like, well, what's the difference? Why is this one more? He's like, oh, well, this one's a putter. This one's a driver. Right. And I'm like, fucking Frisbee. Right. Oh, and then we get out there. She bought a putter, which is like heavy, goes straight, doesn't turn. And then I bought a driver, I guess. And mine, dude, I could rip it. But let me tell you, it was a bottle rocket. That motherfucker could end up anywhere. Right. It could end up behind me for all I know. Hers would go straight. It just would go like 30 feet and fall. It was fucking crazy.
Different Frisbees. Like,
different Frisbees that you have to play with.
Where the guys that worked there, I never got into it like that. Like they did at all. This is how I found out that there was a course nearby. But the place I worked, there was a place called Red Rocks in Charlotte, North Carolina. And these motherfuckers that played there had bags of Frisbees with the putter. They mentioned their putter. They'd be like, I got a new putter. They were totally fucking into it. Their whole life basically revolved around playing Frisbee golf, which even then, I didn't realize that there were different types of Frisbees other than the regular Frisbee that you use.
It's freaking nuts.
So,
disc golf's
you know,
crazy.
hey man, if people like it,
Hey man, I'll get back out there. It's free, and it's a nice walk in the park.
I mean, you know, I would do it again. I have nothing against it.
Yeah.
I play frisbee golf
For sure. All right, what other topic you got? You got anything else before we move on? What do you got?
The last
You got the last one on your list?
one. I'm just curious, really, about your reaction to it.
Good.
It's, being woke.
Oh, perfect. Because
Being woke.
this is perfect. You couldn't have picked a better topic.
I'm glad.
And I'm going to refill my drink. And while I do, I'm going to play something for you that is on the list of things that you need to listen to that actually is perfect for your topic.
Being
right
woke.
here. Look at the name of the song.
Is this, well, I can't see. Oh, Tom McDonald.
Yep.
Woke.
Fake woke.
All right.
So I'm going to
do
try
another
play.
Tom McDonald.
Yep. We're going to do a Tom McDonald, and we're going to go right into your entire
Being woke.
thing here. I'm going to play this video of Tom saying that we can play this video, and we're going to do that.
Jump in the comment section.
gonna let this play for
So you're gonna
answer
play it, and you're gonna be going
blah, 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 like
Hey,
I
any
always
chance?
do. So if you guys have questions, start spamming the comment section with your questions right now, and I will answer as many as I possibly can. But people are constantly asking me if they can play my music on Twitch or if they can play it on their
Just
in
in
their
case.
videos or whatever. And like, I think it's like if you want to play the music on Twitch or something, then you have to provide some proof that you have permission. So just take this as permission. If you have a Twitch stream or you want to use my music in one of your videos or something, this is your permission. Go ahead and use the music. You can send that clip to Twitch, and hopefully they allow you to do whatever it is that you want to do with my music.
Take on beat. Wow. My voice sounds really loud.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna change that for us here. Don't worry. We're going to monitor off on us so that you can't hear us, and then I am going to pull up here this Chrome overlay right here so that it will be in the background playing as you listen to it, and we should be raring to go. So I'm just going to leave the mics on. The audio is on. If you're joining the show, this right here is Tom McDonald, Fake Woke. Marshall asked me what I thought about the woke culture.
Being woke.
Being woke. So we're going to play this right here for you, and I'm going to refill my drink and bring you a water.
Oh, nice.
I think it's crazy I'm the one who they labeled as controversial, and Cardi B is the role model for 12-year-old girls. There's rappers pushing Xanax at the top of the billboard, but if I mention race in a song, I'm scared I'll get killed for it. It's backwards, it's getting exponentially dumb. It's more difficult to get a job than purchase a gun. Eminem used to gay bash and murder his mom, and now he doesn't want fans if they voted for Trump. We're ashamed to be American. You should probably love it, cause you have the right to hate it and not get stoned to death in public. As children we were taught how to walk and talk, but the system wants adults to sit down and shut up. Cancel culture runs the world now, the planet went crazy. Label everything we say as homophobic or racist. If you're white, then you're privileged, guilty by association. All our childhood heroes got Me Too'd or they're rapists. They never freed the slaves. They realized that they don't need the chains. They gave us tiny screens, we think we free cause we can't see the cage. They knew that race war would be the game they need to play. For people to big teams, they use the media to feed the flame.
They so fake woke. Facts don't care about feelings. They know they won't tell me what to believe in. They so fake woke. Same old safe zones. They so fake woke. Facts don't care about your feelings.
I think it's crazy how these people screaming facts, but they fake woke. Hate their neighbor cause he wears a mask or he stays home. Has a daughter but his favorite artist said he slays hoes. Picks her up from school, music slaps on the way home. Censorship's an issue cause they choose what they erase. There's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate. I think Black Lives Matter was the stupidest name, when the system's screwing everyone exactly the same. I just want to spend Thanksgiving Day with food and my family, without being accused of celebrating native casualties. We got so divided, it's black and white and political. Republicans are bigots, libtards if you're liberal. There's riots in our streets and it's just getting worse. Y'all screaming deep on the police, y'all are genius for sure. They're underfunded already, they're way too busy to work. Order food and call the cops, see what reaches you first. Segregation ended, that's a lie in itself. That was a strategy to make us think they were trying to help. They knew that racism was hot if they designed it to sell. We buy up every single box and divide us ourselves.
They so fake woke. Facts don't care about feelings. They know they won't tell me what to believe in. They so fake woke. Same old safe zones. They so fake woke. Facts don't care about your feelings.
We use violence to get peace and wonder why it isn't working. That's like sleeping with a football team to try and be a virgin. Politicians are for sale and someone always makes the purchase. But you and I cannot afford it. Our democracy is worthless. If a man has mental illness, call him crazy. Say it silently. When country's going crazy, we accept it as society. Get sick and take a pill. When the side effects get you high, you get addicted like these rappers dying fighting with sobriety. Censoring the facts turns our children into idiots. They claim it's for our safety. I'll tell you what it really is. Removing information that empowers all the citizens. The truth doesn't damage points of view that are legitimate. They're trying to change amen to amen and women. How'd we let them make praying a microaggression? Instead of asking God for the strength to keep winning, we cheat to get ahead and then we ask him for forgiveness. Feminism used to be the most righteous of fights, but these days it feels like they secretly hate guys. I don't trust anyone who bleeds for a week and don't die. I'm just kidding, but everything else that I said is right.
They so fake woke. Facts don't care about feelings. They know they won't tell me what to believe in. They so fake woke. Same old safe zones. They so fake woke. Facts don't care about your feelings.
All right. There is fake woke. So you asked me about woke, being woke. And I like his take on facts don't care about feelings. I mean, that's it. That's the message. When you think about, I think we live in a society right now where, I've said this before, we have every year we have a couple things that we get behind. And those are the important thing of the moment. And then it lasts for a few months, and then there's a new thing. And the other thing, we just fucking forget about it. We just move on. And that video, his song, just brings back all the things in the last couple years, wraps them into one little tight bow, and then shows you the hypocrisy behind a lot of them. And that's how I feel about it. Every time I see a celebrity come out and be like, oh my God, I can't believe blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, first of all, I don't care what your opinion, period. You're entitled to it, but you should not influence the world with your opinion, whoever it may be. I don't need that. I think that there are certain things that definitely need to be brought to attention and put into a spotlight and need to be changed. But like he says, you got Cardi B out there being the role model for your little girls. Meanwhile, you've got someone out there winning the Nobel Prize for cleaning up the ocean. But we don't care about the ocean person. We care about Cardi B. And at some point, it's just us being a part of it. That's all that matters. We just have to get behind it. That's how I feel about it. I think it ends up being kind of...
People are constantly...
I'm trying to knock all these out of here. All right. I think it ends up being kind of a lost cause by doing it. I understand bringing stuff to the spotlight. I just think that the way that it's done in our current society and our current method of delivery is always wrong.
Well, first of all, there's so many things here now to go, but I'll try to go through one at a time. The video itself, I mean, it's interesting. Some of the things he says are literally words that I've said myself. I think about him saying that, they didn't end slavery, they enslaved everybody.
Right.
I've
you
said
say that on the podcast all the time.
I've never heard anyone else say it, certainly not in that way. I love his presentation. It's powerful. And I think that's good that somebody's out there doing, whether I agree with everything he says or not, I don't, but I do agree with the fact that he's trying, in my opinion,
more than just to become famous, more than just he loves what he's doing. And I think he's just trying to tell the truth. And it's just interesting how people react to that, because people do get angry.
They do.
There is nothing that makes people angrier than the truth. It pisses people off. It makes them furious. If you don't believe me, go tell somebody the truth when they ask you a question. And tell them, go in your own life, and the next time somebody asks you for your opinion, instead of answering them with what you know they want to hear, because if you don't tell them what they want to hear, they're going to get fucking mad as shit. And that's the truth, no matter what it is, no matter who asks you. I don't care whether it's your boss, whether it's your girlfriend, whether it's your kid. If they ask you for your opinion, they do not want your opinion. They want you to reinforce what they already think and what they're waiting to hear. And if you tell them the truth, not your opinion, but the truth, you just say the truth. This makes you look that way, honey. You should not wear that. It does not look good on you. Am I being a better boyfriend by keeping you from wearing something that makes you look ridiculous in public? Or am I being a better boyfriend by saying, oh, well, honey, you look great. Now we're going to go out together. You're going to look like an idiot and everyone's going to laugh. But I've made you feel better about it so it doesn't, whatever. Who's the better friend? Your friend is getting fat. I've certainly got my weights ballooned up and down my whole life. When I'm fat, I like it when people tell me I'm fat because I need them to hear it. That way I address the problem. Go tell somebody that they're fat. Not only will that person get mad at you, society will be angry at you for calling that person fat. Are you calling them fat because you're trying to insult them? Or are you saying, hey man, you're fat. It's unhealthy to be fat.
Right.
You can die from being fat.
Right.
So that people don't like the truth. And I get that he's trying to tell the truth. I hope we're trying to tell the truth. I try as hard as I can, whatever the situation is, whatever the information is, I try to know what the truth is and I try to relay the truth. I think that in terms of being woke and what it means, I believe that when you see the media portrayal of anything, they will try to take anything and make it divisive and make people hate each other. There's nothing wrong with an awareness of what's right and wrong to do in the world.
Right.
That to me is being woke. It's not a matter of being politically correct. It's not a matter of, but they've distorted it from being what I believe is just enlightened about life and what is the truth. And instead of following what we're being brainwashed into believing, we start to think our own thoughts and understand our own meaning of terms. We're not fighting socialism. The people who are screaming the hardest we need to fight socialism are the people that are currently receiving all of the benefits of socialism.
You're correct.
And they are sitting there saying to you, we need to fight socialism. Our political leaders, our senators that are screaming at the loudest, they have socialized medical care themselves. They are socialism. They are receiving money from the government for what they do. Every element of their life. And they're screaming about no socialism. What they mean is they don't want you to get socialism. They don't want you to benefit from it in any way. They don't mean they don't want it to exist. And what I see that in my life, what I experience never matches up to what I see in the media. Never.
Right.
My own life and what I go about and see and experience. Are there people out there doing racial protests and protesting the police? And of course. I'm as active politically as a person can be. I do nothing but read, eat, and sleep political thoughts about everything about this country because I love it so much and I want it to be better. And I try to participate in as many different things as I can. I don't see the violence between people. I see people cooperating. That's what I see. If you turn on the television and it's being projected, they're trying to make you mad about people being woke. Yeah. How could you even get mad about somebody just being enlightened and more educated and more aware of life? That's all to me being woke is. They've made it seem like it's something. And I guess there are people out there getting angry about certain issues. But I've never heard somebody say that mothers should be called birthing persons. I've never heard of that in my life. Nobody I've ever met has anyone ever said, don't say mother, say birthing person. I've never seen somebody say it.
I've never seen it either.
I've never heard of that. I've never
Someone
heard
has
of a
said
war on Christmas. I've never heard anyone mad that you say Merry. I've never seen a person in my life that I've said Merry Christmas all my life to everybody during Christmas. I've never heard anybody say to me, excuse me, don't say Merry Christmas to me.
Happy holidays.
I've never heard anyone say that.
There's a lot of Jewish people out here. They don't appreciate
Maybe
it.
they don't, but that's fine.
I don't think they
wishing.
care.
I'm not saying that they have to. We're going to get the day off. We're going to all be off that day.
Off the day. But we're not going to be off on Kwanzaa, and we're not going to be off for a couple days for Hanukkah. Fuck all that.
I mean, I'm just saying.
But New Year's, everyone off. Thanksgiving, everyone off.
I'll celebrate. I hope they
Juneteenth,
give us
half of you off.
I'll take whatever holiday we get. I'm not going to be off anyway. Any place I've ever worked is always open on those
Fucking
holidays.
hungry? You're fucking hungry?
Yeah,
you're working,
I'm gonna
motherfucker.
be open.
You need gas? You're
I'm gonna
working.
work. Holidays don't mean shit.
Yeah,
to me.
no, you're right.
I treat every day like a holiday. Every day of my life.
And that's why I think that that song was perfect for your question, because it is a lot of it is like it's happening right now, but the media and the coverage of it and the presentation of it turns it into a circus.
And intentionally
people
tries to divide people.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. They have to divide us because our nation is blue and red. They must divide you to pick a side. So, you might be leaning a little bit this way. Let me give you a little push this way. Let me give you a little push this way. That's what they keep doing every 4 years. And that's why I like the lyric in the other song, which is Black Lives Only Matter every 4 years. And that seems so relevant. Name one thing right now in 2021 that Joe Biden presidency has done for black people. Name one thing. 6 months. 6 months in.
Well, first of all, I'm not here to defend Joe Biden.
I don't care. It's not about defending Joe Biden. It's just about
I don't give a shit
pick
what
a
he
thing.
does.
Nothing's happened.
I've tried to tell people this my whole life. They all suck. There is no difference really between one or the other.
No.
People think there is, and let me assure you, at the end of the day, when these people are done with their press conferences and all the shit they do in front, they all go to the exact same restaurants and the same country clubs and the same bullshit together. And they sit down with each other and they laugh at the bullshit that they're feeding America, and we're the ones getting fucked. Never was it more apparent than during the quarantine.
Oh, yeah.
Who was allowed to go home? Everybody except the motherfuckers who actually do a job.
Right.
Everybody was, hey, quarantine, go home, relax, speak to family. We don't want you in any danger. Except for all of you guys that make nothing. You have no benefits. You have no money. But we need you to keep working. Because your job is actually essential. And that shit went right out the window the second that was over. People don't even use that term anymore because we pay them dirt. And the funniest thing is, the people that argue the hardest against their wages being raised are the people that make barely more than they do.
Right.
Because for some reason, they're under the impression that those people don't deserve as much as what $15 an hour. I'll make $15 an hour. I had to do this, and this to get to $15 an hour. Yes, but they're fucking you too, bro. That's what you don't seem to get. They're fucking you. And what they want you to do, instead of being mad at the person who's fucking you, they want you to be mad at the person who's getting fucked worse than you. And that's and it works. That they're able to pull that off. They are able to, and I pray to God that if any message we can get across to people is, they're fucking all of us. Stop fighting with each other. Come together, and let's make the world better. Let's make it a better place. It can happen.
Yeah.
I think he's trying. I know we're trying.
Tom's definitely trying. I mean, he's definitely putting it. Anytime there's something that comes up that's definitely divisive or a hot topic, he does, and he makes other music that's not even controversial. That's just fun.
Yeah,
I mean, they're great songs. I want to play this one because there's people that watched, a lot of people that watched your reaction to the original Tom McDonald clip, and they don't know about Chris Webby. I have followed Chris Webby for a while, for a couple of years. Saw him when he was in Atlanta, and he's a great artist as well. And he does occasionally these political songs, and he calls them Raw Thoughts. And it's a little bit more edgy than Tom in terms of the content, but it's still great. I probably don't have, like, we're gonna get copyright strike, but it's what it is. I don't care. We'll play it anyway because it's also great, and I definitely want people to hear Chris Webby if they haven't. And he has a lot of fun songs too, so don't just get hung up on one song. But every year he tends to do a song like this that just encapsulates the year. So I want to listen to this one too. And if you guys are listening, this is Chris Webby, Raw Thoughts, number 4. You can find it on YouTube. And we're going to pop this thing up here and in the background as well. This is just a lyric video. I didn't pull up the actual, I guess I can pull up the actual music video for it. Why not? We can put that up there. Fuck it. Hold up. Let's get past this quick advertisement. That's
Lord.
a bit annoying.
Right.
Skip ad. All right, there we go. So his message is very similar to that of Tom, but it's more aggressive. A little bit of comedy, but more aggressive. But it's the same. The overall message is the same, and it's
yeah. And I mean, I don't. This is a totally new thing that for me to be exposed
oh
to.
yeah,
these
that's why
guys.
it's great.
And my reaction to all of it is I'm relieved that exists.
Right.
When I see that, first of all, if I was to say, I feel like if I was to make any of these videos, I would already be in prison. I don't know how these guys get away with saying some of the things that they are saying without being contacted by the fucking government and being, because I feel like I know that I had an initial Facebook. And my first Facebook, somehow, I didn't know much about Facebook, but somehow all my friends were Middle Eastern Muslims. I didn't really know what I was doing, so I just would accept whatever came my way, and I was sending out messages about what I say now, that our government sucks, and that it's time for us to stand up and fight and all this shit. And they shut my ass down on Facebook within 30 days of me having it. And I called my son. I was like, "Hey, man, Facebook contacted me, and they believe that I am a terrorist." And I was just what I thought I was doing was sending out messages of positive encouragement to people around the world. That's what I thought I was doing. I believed
you didn't.
I believed I was saying, "Hey, let's get together. Let's fight these." Greed, hatred, arrogance, the three enemies that I think exist in the world. And somehow they thought, they sent me a thing. It said, your Facebook is being monitored for terrorist activity.
Oh, wow.
They used the word terrorist in the thing they sent me. And they were like, you can dispute this, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm not going to. I don't want them to know where they think I'm a terrorist. Fuck. If I'm going to argue with them and let them know more and more information. I was like, I'm just not going near that thing again. I didn't get another Facebook for like 2 more years.
I mean, these guys would be basically labeled domestic terrorism.
Probably.
With that. And there's countries where you could definitely not say that in that country.
Oh, no doubt.
It is good that they get out there. They get to put out their message through music and in a way that articulates well. And, I think that they reach people that aren't even political with their message,
right?
Which is a big thing. And in terms of, because when I first watched it, I never even caught the video because when they had the women in the thing, the red and blue, the green paint, that didn't register with me at first. Red and blue make green, and how upset the women. That was the message: is why are they throwing green paint at each other? Because they don't want to agree. They want us to fight over the middle.
Right.
You're either red or you're blue. That's it. That's the message.
Well, and there's just. I was talking to somebody yesterday about how fucking dumb you have to be, in my opinion, either a Republican or a Democrat. Why would you think, out of all the different opinions you could possibly have in the world, that there's 2 groups of people that you have to choose to agree with one or the other? There are so many different issues. There are so many different solutions. And we should have like 20 political parties.
Right.
We should have like 50 political parties. And for some reason, and when I say that we're enslaved, it's because people are incapable of thinking outside of what currently exists. We don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think that we should be living under a constitution that was written by people 300 fucking years ago. I think that's insane.
It is crazy.
I think that's absolutely insane.
It is crazy.
But to propose that to some people
is absolutely treason.
They think that that's the most insane thing that could come out of your mouth. I've said it to people before and have them been like, "Oh, how could you say that about the Constitution?" And I'm like, even the Bible's been changed.
They were like, well,
They
About that.
I saw a thing once that said from the original version of the Bible, there have been 14,000 things that were changed from one version of it to another. And I'm like, man, look, we should change, we should update some of these laws. We could write a new constitution. There's nothing that says we can't.
Right.
We could rewrite it from scratch. There are people now that are just as smart as those motherfuckers that wrote it, that live in this world, that are aware of how the world is now.
Right.
That don't, I don't understand not wanting to make progress from where we are. We can do so much. We are held back by the current set of laws and the way our government is set up. Held back.
Makes
No doubt
sense.
about it.
Yeah.
We-
Well, instead we just add to them. We just amend them and we add, and then the problem is they go, all right, we have a new thing that needs a new legislature. Cool. Problem is then they go, but we already have legislature in 1874, and you're like, bro, we're talking about Facebook. They didn't have Facebook, and they barely had a picture of your fucking face in 1874.
Right.
They didn't even
Somebody
have
had
a
to draw
book of faces.
Somebody had to try.
Someone drew it.
Somebody had to try.
Never mind, everyone had one. So it's wild, to think that and moving forward, I don't see it changing. It would take a catastrophic event. It would be The Walking Dead would have to happen.
Well, first of all, a lot of people, with the new, you're saying that you think this thing is almost over. I have heard of a thing called the Delta variant, which is a new, highly more transmissible, highly more dangerous version of whatever. Do I know that? I don't fucking know.
Where are the bodies?
Who the fuck knows? But if that comes to pass and it's more powerful than the vaccine, it's on the way. It's spreading. So they say. So I've heard. I don't know.
We don't know.
I would. What I'm hoping is, with messages that are being sent through music, and that's what's great about music is that you're reaching an audience of people that doesn't necessarily think about these things ever.
Double-edged sword.
How so?
Because on one end, you've got someone who reaches reaches people with a message that makes sense and unites people. And on the other edge of the sword, you have people who make music that divides people and takes people the complete other direction.
Well, but I think in general, people that are creative,
through interpretation,
you can digest that information easier through a song than even through us. Those guys, no matter how popular what we do ever gets, it will never be as popular as a rap video.
That's true.
Because I enjoy it.
It might not even be as popular as a dude who builds a house out of Legos.
I can promise you this. Never during their videos will they be doing a reaction to the Free as Fuck broadcast. Never in the middle of, they'll be like, hold on. Middle of our rap. We want to see what these two motherfuckers think.
That's fair.
But we can make a show out of watching what they do. And that, man, more power to them. I'd love for us to up our production game and not necessarily rap, but just, I like what I see I love the visuals.
The visuals are great.
It's so enticing. It brings you in. And it also backs up the words with, it's
very impactful, and the fact that Tom does it all himself is fucking amazing. I mean, it really is. It's mind blowing.
I know a guy in the music industry last night, and he had never heard of him. I asked him because I wanted his opinion. I asked him. I was like, "Hey, man, I recently watched this video. Have you ever heard of this guy, Tom McDonald?" He's like, "No, I've never heard of him." I said, "Well, I explained as much about him as I knew, and I said to him, hey, watch this, and then next time I see you, please tell me what you think, because I'd like to know. I'd like to know how it's perceived by other people." Oh yeah,
He's building a following for sure. I mean, you would look. I could pull up just the messages and the people on YouTube. A lot of them are older women, which is funny to me. Just moms. I mean, you can just tell because of their YouTube profile pictures and stuff and all that stuff. The name, but they've the reach that he has. You would think a lot of people think rap music. We've got OGs that were there from day one, who like OG rap. Then you've got like the guys who like the early 2000s rap, which was kind of fantastical. And then you have whatever's going on now with mumble rap and all that bullshit. And then somewhere in between, you've got guys who stuck to the roots and came out like Tom. But it's wild, man. Like I said, I had a couple picked out that I wanted to play that I think the people would like. That definitely wanted your reaction. Some of them because they were controversial, and they were not his funny ones. But like cancel culture. He's got a good video about cancel culture, which falls right into the woke conversation we had, because the cancel culture thing was amazing to me. The fact that you could go on social media, on Twitter is the cancel culture epicenter. One person can go on Twitter, write a message with their fucking thumbs, destroy your whole fucking life in hours. All of a sudden, someone is on the other end going, what? Why?
But here's the thing when I think about that. For doing what? Like, how could they destroy your life? How and for doing what?
Well, you said something. I don't like it. Marshall, you went on the Free as Fuck podcast and you said something. And I'm offended and I don't like it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to fucking tell the world. I got a lot of followers and they're going to fucking like what I say. And I'm going to type it, boom, and send it. And those people go, and then they fucking send it, and then it spreads, and that's what happens.
But you have to have
you can't. Here's the problem.
Something.
No, that is not true. You have to initially have been potentially accused of something that may or may not have happened, that has not yet any evidence has happened. We see your opinion, your one side of the story, not the whole story. Now, is some of it true? Sure. You've got the guy. What was that dude's name? The Hollywood guy that got fucking Weinstein. You got the Weinsteins out there, but then you've got the who's the comedian from the Fighter and the Kid, Brian Callen. You got him, who's some girl that he's hooked up with in the past. Husband's mad and alleged that he did something. Canceled his whole fucking shit. Lost his podcast. Lost his bookings for a year. His agency dropped him. This is not someone who has been convicted of anything, who has been tried of anything, who has been accused of anything. He has been socially tried and executed. His career. And they have to recover. And whether you did it or not doesn't matter in the cancel culture. All that matters is that you may have done it. And what's funny is like Chris D'Elia, another comedian, accused of sexual misconduct with minors, someone who's 17 or whatever, never charged with anything, whole career gone. He played a character on a show called You, and he was a celebrity on the show, kind of, quasi-celebrity, kind of like you would perceive him in real life. That'd be the life he lived. And he ends up getting, having this underage girl over at his house, and they insinuate that he has a relationship with her, some kind of sexual predatory relationship. And then the main character of the show kills him because he believed that he had done something to her with zero evidence. And after that show comes out, then allegation comes out. Chris D'Elia's fucking podcast gone, agency drops in, TV deal gone, canceled. Boom. Never tried by any person, never accused. I don't even think he was accused. I can look it up. Maybe he was accused by somebody. Nothing ever came of it. But that is cancel culture. And it's very interesting how fast it can happen. And the fact is, his Netflix special was gone. I'm trying to see here. I mean, he said he had a problem, but with misconduct. But no one ever came forward and said, hey, by the way, you raped me or something.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. At this point, none of that matters. He is not Bill Cosby. He's not been on trial. There's not a line of women. But his life is never going to be the same. And that's cancel culture. And that is some of it's good. Some of it brings bad things up. And some of it is just throwing shit at the wall and let's see if any of it sticks. Are you pissed off one person? Yeah. You know how many people have told me you fucking said some shit to the wrong person on the phone to me at my job over something so fucking meaningless? And you know what I tell them? You have my address. I'm right here. Fucking I ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Come on with it. If you want to talk shit, we'll get my fucking friends. All right, well, cool. I'm right here. I'll be here until like 5. After that, I go to jiu-jitsu or I go on the boat, whatever. Won't be here. But if you want to wait, fucking wait. I ain't scared. You're going to threaten me? That's fucking crazy.
Right.
So
No,
I'm just amazed.
that's why I train the way I do. I never know.
Cancel culture is amazing to me.
Well, and I don't know a lot about it because, to be honest with you, I was on Twitter. I have a Twitter. I don't ever go on it. I didn't find it interesting. I did briefly for like a few moments, and then I was like, "This is dumb."
I followed a handful of people on Twitter, but I couldn't get into it. I never got into it. But since we're talking about cancel culture, we'll keep the show going. I think I had 2 more videos pulled up that I wanted you to watch so that we can cut them up and get reactions to, and we can talk about them because they're not just music videos of Tom singing. It's about stuff that we're actively talking about and stuff that's pertinent to our world right now. And this one, he released this one February 5th, 2021. And just so we're clear, 9.4 million views on YouTube alone, doesn't include iTunes and other things. So,
and probably half those people hate him.
Probably half of them do hate him, which is even better. So I'm going to pop this up and let me switch over my.
I hate to hear, I hate to hear comedians be canceled.
Oh no, comedians getting canceled is very upsetting because it's just jokes.
Well, it's not even a matter of it being just jokes. It's a matter of, if you don't like what somebody's doing on stage,
don't watch it.
You can just not go see him. You don't have to ruin the guy.
Right. Also true.
You can just not go see him.
Also true. We did since you mentioned that, we did talk about Tony Hinchcliffe and the Asian joke that lit him up. We talked about him.
Yeah.
He still does his Kill Tony show every week. Life goes on. It passed. I mean, I was surprised. He still does it. I mean, look, they were mad at him for a little bit, but if you listen to the full set and context, it was.
See stuff like this. Let me tell you something. There's a shitload of people in this world that don't like my ass.
Yeah.
A ton of people. And so
line of people.
as they slowly discover, people might, and I think about it, and I'm like, you know what though? I don't care. I think a lot of it has to do with how you respond to it. If you actually did something wrong and are generally remorseful, that's one thing. But if you didn't do anything and somebody's just trying to ruin your life, man, I'm going to move on. I'm not, if somebody came along that I upset or offended when I was younger, depending on what if I actually did something wrong to that person, I would apologize to them. But if somebody's just coming up with some bullshit and trying to get me in trouble and trying to ruin my life because they see that I'm succeeding finally at something, I'm not going to let it bother me at all. I'm not. And when you say the podcast is canceled, nobody can cancel us.
No, you can't cancel us.
We're not beholden to anyone.
Right.
So what are you going to do? Bar that door? I mean, we're coming in. We're doing it when we.
I'll tell you who they can't. I'll tell you who the number one canceled person that I know of is Alex Jones.
I don't know. I don't even know who the fuck that is.
That is amazing to me. Alex Jones, we'll get into it, but he is the number one canceled person on the internet, period. He can't post shit on fucking nothing, period. He's off of every fucking thing. And he's just a political commentator, man. He's just a fucking journalist with some wild ideas.
So he can't broadcast, he can't talk.
Nope, he can't go. He has no Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of it gone. And he had tens of millions of subscribers on YouTube. Tens of millions.
What? All right. So
who is he? What did he get killed?
Oh my God, Alex Jones is deep. Alex Jones says some crazy shit, albeit conspiracy theories.
He did something.
The biggest problem Alex Jones had was Sandy Hook. That was the biggest problems that he had. Sandy Hook happened, and he never said that it didn't happen. He never said Sandy Hook was fake, didn't happen. He said at some point in one of his broadcasts, something didn't add up with Sandy Hook, whatever happened. He got sued by the parents of the kids that died at Sandy Hook. Long lawsuit, 3-4 years, drug out, cost him a fuckload of money. He defended himself. The whole thing went down, played out like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. He finally finished the trial. And he was a Trump guy, but he'd say, if you bring out things like Pizzagate, that went down. He was the first one to talk about that. He's the first one to talk about Epstein. He was talking about Epstein years ago. All this shit going on with all these prominent people. He talks, the thing about Alex Jones is he says so much crazy shit. Aliens, people he knows that are aliens. His dad worked this high level military thing. When he was a kid, he knew about all this shit happening. People, dude, it's crazy. It's a deep, deep rabbit hole. And if you listen to it like I did as entertainment, fucking great. If you listen to it as someone who's like, I'm going to write down everything he says. I'm going to live by this. This is the code. This is the way I live. You're fucking crazy. But if you look at it and go, it's funny. Is some of it true? Probably. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. But he got taken off for the thing that did him in. He went and approached a politician in a public place. I don't remember if it was an airport or a convention center or something, trying to ask him questions or something. And he was just too forceful, I guess. And it came off as aggressive and all. Either way, Fang got rid of him. Facebook, Apple, Google, the whole thing, YouTube, gone. Alex Jones banned indefinitely. In fact, if you even played Alex Jones clips, they would put your channel on 1 week suspension. There was times where you couldn't even talk about Alex fucking Jones.
Wow.
Oh no, they canceled the shit out of him. Yeah, we can talk about him. He's since been back on other shows. He cannot have his own show. And if you play any clips, if he's on your show, they will demonetize that episode. You cannot. It's insane. The amount of censorship that they censored him with is immeasurable in our world. He is the number one canceled person as far as I know, period. But like I said, he would like led the Trump July 6th thing. Or the January 6th thing. He was there, knew Trump. He talked about it on a recent episode of a podcast with 2 other comedians. I'm having a brain fart. But he gave the whole story of it, of what really happened. And it's pretty interesting to listen to how that whole thing played out and how they kind of set someone up to be the scapegoat from the beginning and how it played out. It's pretty interesting. But we're going to listen to this one. We're going to get right into it. And I'm just for easy editing from me, we're going to cut into Tom MacDonald canceled. And Marshall's new to Tom MacDonald. We've played some Chris Webby. I'm going to attach the Tom MacDonald. You can play this video if you want to, free as fuck at the beginning of this clip. So I ain't going to worry about that. And we're going to kick right into it right now, buddy.
I can't be canceled, there's no way that you can stop me. Fully independent, there's no label who can drop me. Y'all been starting rumors, let me help you with some. Yeah.
He's a racist, he's a sexist, he's in love with Donald Trump.
Y'all can't cancel me, my life is scandal free. There ain't no sponsors taking losses cause the brand is me. My hands are clean, my family and my fans agree. Y'all can't cancel me for facts because you're mad and weak. Go ahead and tell the world I'm ugly and racist. I braid my hair and I don't care about cultural appropriation. I moved to the ghetto, lived in the ghetto, there's no Caucasians. And still I loved every single one of my neighbors. How's a man say I'm clickbait if he gonna use this face to get clicks on his page? Y'all hypocrites are made. But I ain't tripping about these bullies, it ain't 6th grade. Go ahead and diss me trying to sell a couple mixtapes. I'm not afraid, take my face and my name, paste it on the front page. I'm already famous and you'll never change it by hating or claiming you'll take it away. My grind wicked, write my rhymes different. You could try to quantify defying limits as a dying gimmick and denying winning. This is pure fire, this ain't white privilege. I do what I want, get all the Gucci and Louis Vuitton out of my closet, out of my crib. I do not want it, that is for kids. That is for rappers who ask you to produce their beats for free, pretending online like they rich. I am not playing it safe, I said what I said, it is what it is.
I don't care if you mad at me, okay? Go ahead and change the channel. Don't waste your time trying to cancel me, okay? They love me cause they know that I'm it. Say what you want, I guess it is what it is. Hey,
Everybody knows my name, from local folks to global fame. I'm vocal about the social justice movements. I expose the fakes, turn rappers into ghosts and graves. Make no mistake, they bones will break. I'll throw them in the wolf enclosure, slowly turn and close the cage. Acres full of sheep, you know that I'm the only goat. I'm great, they spoke my name to mostly hate. I don't complain, I'm woke, I wait. A total focus soldier, wrote the art of war. Know every page, I'm numb to all the dumbness. Smoke tobacco laced with Novocaine. I won't behave, I stoke the flames. I'll choke their throats with golden chains. Use vocal cords as skipping ropes and jump till I am soaked in brains. From open plains to coastal waves to solar rays in open space. Can't find nobody doper unless you poke your veins and snort cocaine. Whoa, y'all can't cancel me. Just get mad that I'm the man until you smash the screen. Like, whoa, I can handle heat. I walk through hell in open sandals drinking gasoline. Yeah, I could have been a star, could have had a mansion and a car and a Grammy album on the charts. I'm a savage, Randy with the bars. I don't rap about Xanax, goddamn it, can't cancel facts. We need answers, championing trash to the masses actually massively damages, yeah. Keep trying to cancel me, yeah. I own the masters, so yeah. I make the beats, I write the songs, I own the cameras, yeah. I could have been famous, dumb my music down till it's basic. Get it on the hottest Spotify playlist, modify my catalog and go mainstream, yeah. I don't care if you mad at me, okay? Go ahead and change the channel. Don't waste your time trying to cancel me, okay? They love me cause they know that I'm it. Say what you want, I guess it is what it is. Haters can talk, but they can't cancel the kid. Go ahead and go off, try and say this is it. But I swear to God, you can't cancel the kid. I feel like all these rappers lately on a mission. They starting drama, they don't really want no problems, so they talk in whispers. Don't even start, no competition, y'all are finished. They say they feeling froggy, but I bet none of these frogs gon' rib it. They think I'm soft, but I promise y'all that I'm solid like a rock inside a Teflon box and dipped in carbon fiber liquid. I'm not religious, but I walk with Christians. If Jesus died for all my sins, he'd need 1,000,000 crosses tall as buildings. Y'all can't cancel me. I'm a god and you're the devil, stop attacking me. Like, whoa, nails in my hands and feet. Y'all some snakes, I don't need fruit from that apple tree. I ain't doing features or buying beats. I'm a wolf, I don't lie with sheep. I am what I am, and I can't hide my teeth. Way too many rumors, I'm like, who said it? Never met him, if he dissed me, probably about to drop a new record. I do what I want, don't matter if I get approval or not. Y'all ain't gonna cyberbully me or try to push on me until I'm becoming some dude who I'm not. Head full of ludicrous thoughts, producing the songs. My music is truth and you brutally shocked. I'm shooting my shot, I'm Biggie, I'm shady, I'm new school Pac. Go ahead and call me a piece of garbage, make a starving artist your primary target. I'm the largest monster in the farthest darkness, and my claws are sharp and I'm an army sergeant. If people wanna hate, then I'm grateful. It's only gonna make what I say less painful. Look at my face, embrace, I'm unstable. I ain't gonna break or shake or feel shameful. I don't care if you mad at me, okay? Go ahead and change the channel. Don't waste your time trying to cancel me, okay? They love me cause they know that I'm it. Say what you want, I guess it is what it is. Haters can talk, but they can't cancel the kid. Go ahead and go off, try and say this is it. But I swear to God, you can't cancel the kid.
Tommy Donald, bring in the fire. Same thing, man. Can't cancel him.
No, I mean, you know, what I like is I just think he's fearless, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a thing that's bold. I remember for myself, and I would never want to, I don't compare myself to anybody else, but what I do remember is when Trump was running for president the first time, I was living in New York. I used to go up on stage in New York under the name Taint Johnson. I was, for 3 years, I lived in New York, and I signed up at every open mic as Taint Johnson. And the funny thing about that was there are a lot of people who wanted I got banned from.
Got canceled.
I got banned from probably, well, the biggest open mic operation in New York at that time. I don't know if they still exist. It was called Laughing Buddha. I don't know if you've ever heard of them or not, but
No.
in New York, and the way Laughing Buddha mics worked, you had to pay $5. They were run well, and they were in good places. They had a basement location at a coffee shop that was just phenomenal. You went down into the basement, you signed up. They ran it really well. They organized it really well. I got banned from that I could not do any. Laughing Buddha sent me an email and banned me, and I'll tell you why. A girl, I was going up as Tank Johnson, and all I did was talk politics.
Okay.
That's all I did was just political shit, usually about Trump, but about politics in general. And I hadn't been doing any kind of open mics or stage time in over 10 years. I had worked as a comic for years, and I got out of it because I wasn't myself. And I wasn't feeling right. I drove to New York, lived in my Jeep in a Walmart parking lot in New Jersey, in Secaucus, New Jersey. I lived in the parking lot of that Walmart in Secaucus, New Jersey for 3 years, and would go into New York 3 or 4 nights a week, take the bus in, go to the open mics. Within 2 months of being in New York, the reason I got banned, this girl at a Laughing Buddha mic, she goes up on stage and she's going to introduce me next. And she goes, this next guy I'm bringing up, I don't even want to say his name. He's so disgusting. Then she does her set. And for the next 5 minutes, she talks about how badly she needs some dick. That was her set. She's like, I need some dick. I haven't gotten any dick in so long. I need some dick.
Oh my
She
God.
spent 5 minutes talking about how bad she needs some dick. And then after that, she's like, and I'm just going to, you all know who the guy is who's coming up. I'm not saying his name. Here he comes. So I walked up and I just leaned over and looked at her and I was like, I agree. You need some dick. That's all I said. I did my set. And at the end of my set, before I got off, I turned to look over at her again and I go, I hope you get some dick. The next day,
Oh no.
without any kind of asking what my opinion was,
Right.
how did this happen, what it was said, why, or nothing. Why did you, they send me an email and it says, as of now, you are permanently banned from all, and they ran about 60 open mics
Holy shit.
in New York. So out of the 130 or some odd, they ran almost half of them.
Wow.
And they banned me to the point where I even showed up at one about, they sent me the letter. They're like, you're banned. There was an incident at last night's open mic. As of now, you are banned from open mics, all Laughing Buddha open mics permanently.
Wow.
And I wrote back and I was like, fuck you. Suck my fucking dick. I don't give a fuck about you or your fucking open mics or your fucking classes or your fucking bullshit newsletter or any of the other fucking bullshit that you and I don't give a fuck. Fuck Laughing Buddha. Fuck you. Suck my ass. 6 months later, 6 months later, I go to an open mic and I was just going to sign up under a different name. I started picking up different names from movies.
Okay.
And there's a character in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles named Burt Dingman. And so I walk in and I write, and the MC doesn't know me. I write down Burt Dingman. A dude who did know me comes walking up to me and he goes, hey man, I cannot put you up. I would lose my job if you went up on stage. And I'm like, so if I go up as Burt Dingman 6 months after this fucking shit happened, by the way, I'm not the one who stood on stage for 5 minutes saying I needed dick. I'm not the one saying it. She said it. I was talking about politics. She's talking about needing dick. I'm banned. She's allowed to continue doing whatever it is she's doing.
I mean, she clearly hasn't gotten, she has not fulfilled her prophecy.
It's clear why she hasn't gotten it. It's very obvious why she hasn't gotten any dick.
No.
That's an obvious reason.
Hey man, I got an aunt named Karen. She's a nice ass lady.
I'm just saying, man. And I dealt with that. So I was there for 2.5 more years.
You got canceled.
And I was not allowed to go at
That's
any
so
point. No, the
wild.
last time I tried. That was the last time I tried to go up and even go to one, because it was clear at that point to me that they were not going to ever, because I was still going up at other mics, and I had developed a good name for myself in terms of I would go and I would sit and I could hear, and then people were like, man, tonight's going to be awesome as fuck. Payne Johnson's here. I could hear those kind of comments being made. And well, you've seen me, so know, like, I go up and I stir things up, and I was on fire then. And what I saw in that was the way I felt during that time. I was like, you think you're going to stop me because you're banning me from laughing fucking Buddha mics? I don't give a fuck. And I started getting banned from other, like, I remember I was at this other place one time, and I finished my set and I come off the stage. And I used the mic back then. I was just as loud. But I was using the mic. So it was even louder. And that's why I stopped using it. When I left New York, I stopped using the mic because I knew when I went to places in Nashville and Texas and even here, it's like, man, if I use the mic and I'm this loud, I'm going to get banned everywhere again. So, and I just got banned. And I would come off stage and I would leave to a standing ovation. Sometimes literally in New York, people would be chanting, "Taint, taint, taint, taint," and I would just be like, man, this is fucking crazy. And I'd walk off the stage, and the person would come and go, "Hey man, you can't come here anymore." The owner came down while you were up on stage, and he's like, "Don't let that guy up on stage again."
Wow.
It happened to me a lot. But
I feel like that. I feel like every Atlanta comedy venue or open mic, you are this close to not being allowed to come back. There's one person there, and you see him when you go. You're like, dude, if that dude don't like me, like, I'll put my name down, and he's never gonna say it. Like, every time there's that one guy there, and he's usually not even funny. But he's been there. He's been doing the same shit, been working hard. I paid my dues. I've been doing comedy for a long time. And I feel like I don't know who runs the mic now at Limerick. I couldn't even remember the guy. I would know him if I saw him.
I like that guy.
I would know him. I think his name was Joe. Is his name Joe?
I don't remember his name.
He's a dad.
He's a nice guy.
He's a lot of dad jokes.
And I've never seen his set.
But he was
I
nice.
usually get there early during the show. They have an actual show where they have booked comics.
Yeah,
and then they have the late night show.
Right.
The late night show is the lightning round. I love that. And
the lightning round was good.
Honest to God, and I say this in all sincerity, I pray that I didn't. I don't know whether I went up last night or not. I may have. He usually, he'll come to me and he'll go, "Hey man, I'll put you up whenever you want." And I always tell him, I'm like, "Dude, I'll go up whenever you call me."
Joe. I don't remember his last name.
And I bought everyone around of shots that wanted one. I did one myself. I had already been drinking all night long. I was completely fucking hammered. And I remember buying that round of shots. I remember sitting at a table with a guy who was going up for his very first time.
Oh shit! Limerick Junction.
And then I woke up this morning in my Jeep in the parking lot across from Limerick Junction. And I don't remember walking to my Jeep. I don't remember leaving Limerick Junction. Don't remember whether or not I went up on stage or not. And I really don't want to find out, because if I did go up, it didn't go well. It didn't. If I did, in fact.
Well, I can tell you this. I woke up this morning and I opened my phone and I went to Google News and I didn't see your name. So step one, okay. And I looked at it before you got here and I still didn't see it. So odds are they saw you. They just haven't figured out a way to tell anybody yet.
People sometimes, like, I don't know.
I don't know. I definitely feel like the Laughing Skull Lounge was like that. I mean, I like that comedy club and I like most of the comedians
I feel
that
like if I
go.
went there, they would tell me I couldn't come back.
Yeah, I think most of the people there would love it, but I think there's one person there, and I don't know who it is. I couldn't tell you, like, that person's going to be like, you can't come back. I can tell you that Bob Place would enjoy it, and you've seen Bob if you've been to Limerick Junction for sure. And he runs most of the Laughing School stuff. He's like the manager of Laughing School. And I can tell you that the other guys I see at most of the other open mics probably like it. But I feel like there's just a person that you don't even know that would be so offended by something That's
Well,
not
and,
even
and,
offensive.
and there are even here. I remember the first open mic I did here in Atlanta was at that upstairs pizza place. Like a Wednesday night, right down the street from the
brew house?
the brew house, right down the street.
Upstairs pizza
It's
joint.
a pizza place, and they had an upstairs.
I know there's a pizza place that's an upstairs. I didn't know they had a mic
and I
there.
can't remember the name. It's some weird name,
It's on the corner.
Harpo's or some shit.
It's on a corner street in Little Five.
No, it wasn't on a corner. It was.
Thought it was on a point.
It was the last real building of 5 Points. Like if you
It has a
walk,
rooftop bar though, or a rooftop restaurant.
it had a rooftop, and it was enclosed. They could open the things. It was a pizza place downstairs. They had a bar upstairs. I can't believe you can't remember this. This was one of my favorite places. I went there all the time. But anyway, so I go there, and let me explain to people why I sign up with my first name only. First of all, I can't write small. These lists, these lists are fucking. You know, they got a fucking thing. I can't
got
write
notebook papers. I don't
write a
know.
little tiny little name. I don't have that ability,
Okay.
and I don't want to write my whole name. I just so I write Marshall, and for some reason, there was a girl who I went up. I did what I always do. I was brand new to Atlanta. I know the reaction the first time I go up anywhere. People are like, "What the fuck?"
Oh yeah. No, I tell people, I'm like, dude, I do this podcast, and I was about, I'm like, it's, and I tell them like, yeah, this guy met an open mic, and I watched him, I loved his open mic sets, and we talk about, and we get along, and we have fun doing this podcast. And I was like, but honestly, if you've never seen Marshall at open mic, if you've never seen his set, and you've never seen him anywhere in the world, and you watch him, you're like, we're all about to get murdered. Like, this is it. This guy is going up here and he is saying this stuff, whatever the set may be, and then this is it. You got to run. And it's funny, and it's just because you're so quiet. You sit there, you don't talk to anybody, you don't participate in anything that's happening, and you just sit there. It's complete silence, and you're calm. That's the problem. It's like I say, it's the fucking quiet one that'll get you, and then you get up there and you just explosive personality, and the rants are so funny. I laughed at every fucking one of them, and I remember to a T. Well, not to a T. I can't say that. I remember vividly cracking up to the one about the people coming into the restaurant after church on Sunday and the mess they made and all the shit. And it was so fucking funny. And I remember your Trump ones. They were good too. I remember them, and they stuck with me. And I remember sitting at open mic, and I'd met Lolly down there, and Tim obviously, and
I missed Tim.
I know, and what's her face, the DJ, she was cool.
Yeah.
And
I love that mic.
the entire mic was great. And I remember just going, I need to talk to that guy. I need to talk to him. And you were like, I'm like, come on over here, man. I'll buy you a beer, have pizza, or whatever. And it was just, it's a thing where, like you said, if people don't know you, and that's the only vision they get. It's either they love it, or they're like, you can't come here anymore. You know,
I get both.
And I would assume you do get both.
I'll say this: I went to there's a Comedy Zone in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was visiting my son. They had an open mic, and they have it like one. And I called in advance, and I was like so excited because the room was packed, and there was like 10 open micers, and it was a show. It wasn't like an open mic like what we do in front of a bunch of comics. It was a full comedy club, fully full with people. And I went up and I did my set and just crushed. And my son was supposed to video it. He had my camera. He had his finger over the speaker. You couldn't hear a word I was saying. You could see it. You couldn't hear it. My hair was long. I was in my fucking drug rug hoodie. And I finished my set. And the guy in the back goes, that guy is going to kill everybody in the room. And I was like, how did I come off that way? I'm like, I'm trying to spread a message of peace and love. I'm like the most I'm a non-violent, opposed to violence, and I guess that's the perception. But quite in my own mind, to me, I'm quiet because I'm concentrating.
Right.
I don't physically write down anything. I'm trying to do something brand new every time. Sometimes I literally will write the set that I'm doing as I'm sitting there, sometimes moments before I go. I'm waiting until the last possible moment. I'm trying to absorb the room. I'm trying to absorb the energy. I'm trying to take everything I've read and thought about, and I'm trying to make sure that every single bit of it, every line out of my mouth has got to be but fucking hysterical. Otherwise, people are ready to pounce and be like, he ain't that funny. He ain't that good. He thinks, because people always think they know what I think. What I think is I'm going to go up, I'm going to work as hard as I can during this 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. And I'm going to make sure that everything I say, do, act, behave, word out of my mouth, tone, movements is fucking hilarious. Where even if you hate my fucking guts, when I finish and walk off, you're like, man, I don't like him, but God damn, that was fucking funny.
Right.
And I put that level of pressure on myself, and I love it. I'm so addicted to it. I love it. I love it so much, it makes me emotional to talk about it because I love it that much. I've never experienced anything that I've enjoyed more. And I don't ever want to disappoint the people that are excited when I do show up. And I feel like some of them are, not everyone.
Right.
There's people there that want to see me fail. I know they do. I went up in New York one time and they introduced me. Room. I was the second person going up. Tate Johnson. They're like, okay, Tate Johnson's here. I had been there now this was near the end. I was getting ready to leave. I'd been there almost 3 years.
Right.
They're like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, coming up, Tate Johnson. And barely a fucking clap. Nothing. And I walked up and I picked the microphone up and I just kind of rolled my eyes to myself. I was like, God damn, these motherfuckers are all in here rooting against me. They want to see me do bad. And I did a little set about John McCain, and it was one of the best fucking sets I've ever done in my entire life. And when I walked out of the room, the bartender goes, "That guy is the funniest fucking person in New York." The bartender, wow. and that was one of the proudest moments of my life, honest to God. And I probably left New York about a month after that. But it was. I just love it. I love the stage. I love talking about it. I don't share it with people because I'm thinking. I'm concentrating, and I can't. If I do, then it takes me off track. And so I'm quiet, not because I'm trying to be rude or disrespectful to anybody. I love talking to people, but after, and then pretty much after, no one wants to talk to me. That's right. That's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, they don't.
Not me. I'm like, I'm gonna talk to that dude. I need to fucking talk to that guy.
This is the only thing that I've ever found that I love as much as doing that is doing this. I look forward to it. I think about it when I'm not here. I try to prep for it.
I do too. I'm trying to think about like what's going on in the world that's not super crazy, that's interesting that we need to talk about, or just come up with stuff and what's happening in life and how it's important and people
to be able to talk about it and not worry about how we say it.
No,
I'm
worried about that. We're not worried about being canceled.
Yeah, I don't
worry about it.
Who the fuck is going to stop us?
No one's going to stop you. No one.
And that's what I love about what he said. He's like, I am my own brand, bitch.
That's right.
No record label's going to drop me. Nobody, I write this, I produce it. The music's mine. The videos are mine. The cameras are mine.
It's all mine.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, good
You
luck.
can't do shit to me.
You don't like me? Change the channel.
Change the channel. That's your only choice.
That's
because
your
I'm
only
coming
choice.
back with
That's
more
right.
Every time.
Every time.
And I like that. I do.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what he does in music is what I hope we're doing with our show.
I think you impact people, and sometimes you'll never know. I listen to a lot of motivational clips. Man, sometimes I just get overwhelmed with life and the responsibilities of work and family and just everything. It's so much. And I listen to a lot of David Goggins clips, and I've got some that I listen to that are Joe Rogan clips from his podcast. They're all stitched together in a motivational sense. Just things that they've said. And, in the moment, I'm sure any of them would just be like, it was just a conversation. And then you listen to it and you go, man, you know what? That's when you put it all together, you're like, that can change someone's entire day. It can change someone's entire life. Goggins talks about being fat and overweight and everything. And it's interesting that you said something earlier about you just want to tell the truth and be honest with people. And he has a clip in one of the things I listened to where he talks about when he was younger, how he decided that he was trying to be somebody he wasn't when he was in high school. And he was trying to be the kid with the crisscross was out, backwards pants, the funky hairdo, all this shit. And he said at one point he decided he just wanted to be honest with himself and be honest with people. And he goes, there's nothing more difficult than no matter what it is, whatever lie you told somebody, some stupid lie. Hey, you got a pen I can borrow? No. Hey, did you do that? No. And then just to go back to them and be like, hey man, I'm sorry, but I just lied to you about that. Nothing more difficult in your life than to go back and tell someone you're sorry for just lying to them, no matter how big it is. And that it was a powerful thing to listen, because once you stop lying to yourself about where you're at in life, you know what? Maybe you are, people call you fat. Maybe you are fat. Maybe you are out of shape. Maybe you are dumb. That's okay. Own it and overcome it.
Right.
That's important. And David Goggins, if you don't know him and you like reading, his book is insane. It's a great book. His life story is unbelievable.
Right.
As just a person, not so much like he didn't create he's not some super successful dude in the world, not some billionaire. He's a dude who went through the military, went through the Ranger School, he went through BUDS 3 times. Spent 18 months in BUDS. He's the 36th black guy to be a Navy SEAL. And he's an ultra marathon runner now. And he's one of the toughest motherfuckers on the planet. But he wasn't born that way.
Right.
He was just a dude that was overweight and fat in a dead-end job with nothing going for himself, and decided one day, I don't want to be this motherfucker anymore.
Right. No, man.
And you can do it.
That's truthfully,
And it's super powerful.
That's what's amazing.
I will tell you, where I'm going with this. I will tell you that when we do these podcasts, and maybe we get 5 views, maybe we get 5,000 or 500,000 views. It only takes one view to change somebody's world, and that person changes the world. And I remember when I decided, I was married and I wasn't happy, and I remember I had just kind of been introduced to David Goggins through, I think the Rogan podcast. He was on there. I was like, let's start listening to him and some of his talk, some of his clips. And I remember sitting there thinking, I can change my life right now. I remember that day listening to it in my house. I had a little home gym, some exercise equipment, because I never made time for myself to go to the gym. I can do this. And I remember staring across the room into my bedroom where my wife was sitting, and she's laying in bed. It's 6 p.m. I got home from work. I worked all day. I was tired, and I'm going to do this because I'm not happy with me.
Right.
I wasn't happy with myself. I need to do this. Right. I'm going to get in here and I'm going to work out.
Sure.
And hey, you want to come work out with me? No. Okay. All right. I'm going to do this for me. And that, realizing that I wasn't okay with who I was or where I was at, and being okay with it and putting myself in, I don't want to do this. I've worked all day. I do not want to do this, but I'm going to do it. And part of his biggest thing is get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Sure.
And, I started doing that. And unfortunately, my marriage didn't, survive through all of that. But I did. I got very comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I even today, I find myself listening to that and reminding myself, like, dude, today is gonna suck. Okay, what sucks worse than this? Let's go do that. You know what really sucks?
Absolutely.
Let's go do that.
Absolutely. No, and that's, just to relate that to my own life. That's why I do things the way I do in terms of I try to make it as hard for myself as humanly possible, because I do love it. And I'll even make this apology, because I have a set that I do that I know pretty much is going to get a good reaction. I've done it probably more than any other set that I've ever done. Probably done it like 5 times. And it's stupid. And I did it the other night. It's really dumb. But I did it the other night as a safety, as a crutch, and it tanked.
Yeah.
And I was used to it all. Like I was used to it always. People, just, and sometimes I just get in a situation where I'm like, I'm just going to fall back on this. I'm going to do it. I know it's going to be funny. And I did it the other night at an open mic. I think it was a Friday night. There was an open mic at some bar, and they had everybody in the fucking world had gone up and done their set. And everything. And the guy basically said, "Here's our headliner end of the night." The guy went, and then he looks over at me. He's like, "Did you ever sign up?" And I was like, "Well, I came to you and asked you if I could sign up. And you told me you weren't letting people sign up." And he's like, "Oh, so I'm sorry, man. I didn't. I mean, I was letting people sign up at that moment.
Right.
But I thought you were going to come sign up later." He's like, "Do you want to go up?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I went up and did my fallback set, and it fucking ate shit. And I was just like, "That's it. I'm never doing it again. I don't want to do that because just what you said. I like to make it as hard for myself as possible in anything, but especially in stand-up. It's so, when I see people do the same thing like the third or fourth time, I'm like, man, dude, how many times are you going to do this before you either lock it in as something you're going to do, but you're doing it not only again and again, you're doing it again and again in front of the exact same fucking people that have seen you a million times. And I'm not going to do that to the audience. They deserve better. I hope that they appreciate that work that I put in. I hope that even the people that don't know me will say, man, this guy's, I've seen him 15 times. I've seen him do 15 different fucking sets.
Right.
And I hope that they appreciate that level of effort. And I feel like if you're going to give me 5 minutes of your time, I'm going to make every second of that time worth it.
Yeah.
And I think it's an approach to life. It's not just an approach to the stage, but like make yourself uncomfortable. Yeah, make yourself work out when you don't want to. Make yourself try something new. Make yourself read new information that you.
I realized after kind of implementing that into my life that how much it will change the way that you attack your everything. And like when I was dating Megan, she gets into these funks where she really doesn't want to do something. Like, hey, let's go on this walk. Let's go to the park. I don't want to do it. Okay, good. Let's go do that. And she'll be. I remember taking her to the park down there. We're gonna go, and she was in a bad mood already. And I was like, let's just go walk. Let's get out of the house, whatever. And I didn't think we were dating at the time. We were just friends. And we got into the park, dude. There's like no signs in the fucking trail. And the trail goes around this big loop. You can go like 3 paths. They all eventually come out at the same part, kind of, back where you park. But if you make a left and you're supposed to make a right, the trail's a fuckload longer. And I remember being back there. We were like a mile in, and it's like 3 mile thing if you do the whole thing. And she was already mad. She's walking in the woods and shit. I was like, oh, man. I was like, oh. So we made the wrong turn. I was like, oh, we'll go the short way. And I didn't fucking know. But my mentality is like, oh, let's go the short way. And then if it's not short, oh, well.
Right.
Man, if I tell you that I spent better half of an hour and a half with one really, really ornery woman, boy.
Right. Right.
That was her. But at the end of the day, when you come out and you do something like that, and you're very uncomfortable, and you've done it, everything else in your day is easier. Everything else is easier. And I took Skylar last night to the skate park. This dude here, should give him a shout out on a separate video, but skatelesson.com came up to me the other night, skate park. Hey man, I've seen him up there. I knew he did skate lessons. I seen him like a year ago or something.
What kind of skating?
Skateboarding.
Oh, skateboarding.
He's like, get
you
skateboard
can take
lessons. You can take
skateboarding
skateboard lessons. Yeah. So we're up there. He comes up, he talks to me, he gives me the car. I said, yeah, cool. I think about it. And then, Skylar was trying to learn how to go around the bowl. He's trying to do. He's not a good skateboarder. He hasn't skateboarded that long. And I was at work yesterday, and Carter went to a friend's house, and I texted the guy. I was like, dude, super late notice, but we're going to go up there. If you're free, you would come up, I'll, pay you for a lesson. And he was like, yeah, for sure. Glad you reached out to me. I was like, oh, cool. And skateboarding, this is what I realized up there watching these kids skateboard. And I've seen it before. It never clicked in my head. While he's teaching Skylar to do the most basic of things, ride on one foot. Just ride down at 1 foot. Put your other foot forward. Just do that. You're not doing some crazy trick. I need you to ride on 1 foot. How hard is that? Okay, how many times you fail? at riding on one foot. And then you did it.
I couldn't
okay,
do it.
good.
I wouldn't
All
even
right,
try it.
Then let's try to do this thing. And every time was a little bit of positive reinforcement, a little bit of confidence every time you do it. But I realized that skateboarding is 99.5% failure. Every single person in the skate park, no matter how fucking good they're ripping it around that bowl, they're coming out, flying out the fucking bowl 4 feet in the air. Every one of them, if you watch them, fails at whatever they're trying to do. They might not even crash, but they don't succeed at the trick they're trying to do 99.5% of the time. And they pick it up, and they get back, and they go do it again, and they go do it again. And then they get it once, and the morale boost is huge.
Sure.
You know, and Skylar's trying to go around the bowl. He's just trying to ride around the bowl one time, not falling off the fucking skateboard. And, you know, he didn't know any of the kids there. And we've seen him there before. You talk to him. He's kind of shy, introvert in that realm. And, you know, so he's doing the lesson or whatever, and he's getting confidence and stuff, getting the bowl, and he fails a couple times. He makes it all the way around. Every kid in the fucking skate park, probably 30 kids, takes to the board, banging it on the ground for him to make it around that one time.
Nice.
And the look on his face and the energy that he had and everything, it was just, you could not replicate that feeling.
Sure.
Of overcoming that, of being comfortable,
It's amazing.
being in there, failing in front of your peers, in front of people that you're like, that dude, that's what it's all about. So if we reach one person through something we've said, through doing this,
No question about it.
that's all it's about.
I tell you, man, I hope that is the approach to really everything.
Yeah.
Is you never know, man. Somebody out there in despair, upset, whatever, gets to laugh for a second, gets to think about something, gets to see something from a different perspective. Speaking of what you're talking about, I watched a video one time on Facebook, I think it was, of this little kid that was trying to break a board in karate.
Okay.
So, and the way he was going to break it was to stomp on it. And it was actually one of those boards that's pretty easy to break. You can kind of just snap them apart.
Right.
But he was really little kid, probably 5 or 6 years old, and he was little, so he was light. And I don't know how much pressure was needed to be exerted on the board to break it, but more than he was able to bring with his weight. And so now you're watching this kid, and he's young, and he's trying to break the board. And what the problem he was having was he was just hitting it. He wasn't hitting it with enough of his weight.
Right.
You got to go all in, and it would have break. But you're watching him do it. You know, man, this kid's never going to break this board. So he's trying, and he's trying. And he's trying, and he's getting so upset he starts crying. Now he's tried it, and there's a lot of people there. You can't see them all in the video, but you can tell there's a lot of people. There's noise, and so when he starts crying, all these kids get up and come around him and start patting him on the back and cheering him up, and they're like, "Come on, man, you can do it, you can do it." And he goes in, and I don't know, it didn't look staged. It just looked like an actual karate lesson where this kid was doing this as part of his training. And somebody was videoing it and catches this moment, and then he goes over and he breaks the board. And the people go, and I got to admit, at that point, I'm so intensely emotionally involved in the moment. I'm like tearing up watching it. I'm like, you did it. Yes. I was so excited. So I know, man, like you said, your son captured a moment for those kids. They're not forced to do that. Nobody's telling them, hey, grab your boards and cheer for this guy. They're doing that as a purely their own reaction to supporting another person. And so that's why that kind of thing says to me, there is hope for the world to be better, because those things are happening on their own. And if we could replicate those moments and rid ourselves of the negative moments, which we can choose to do, there is no reason to fight another person over anything unless you just decide you want to fight the person.
Right.
You don't have to kill anybody. You don't have to hurt anybody. You don't have to rob people. We can cooperate with each other and just make the world great. And I hope that we do. And I hope that this podcast is part of that by reaching people. I really do. That sounds corny, I guess, but man, I
don't think it's corny at all.
For me, what I hope happens is that people, whatever the success level we personally, we're achieving nothing other than the people that are getting to listen to what we're saying.
I don't think it's corny in the least bit. And, you know, I bring up David Goggins. He's got a pretty good following of people now. And he's kind of like you. This stuff, he'll know none of this stuff at all. Right. He knows none of this shit. Right? If he's on Instagram Live, someone else is holding the phone, pointing it at him. Right. He's not doing it. Right. That, you know what he knows how to do? Run. Motherfucker will run. The Moab 240. I'll fucking run. He ran, dude. You've got to read his book. It is amazing book, amazing story. But I'll summarize it. He ran this. He was out of the SEALs, and he wanted to run a run for charity, the hardest run he could do. And he wasn't a runner. He was a SEAL, so he's built like a SEAL. He wanted to run this Blackwater. I think it's a Blackwater 200 or something like that. Fucking hardest race he could find that he wanted to do. So he emails the guy. The guy says, well, have you ever ran a ultra marathon before? And he goes, what's that? Well, over 100 miles. He says, no, but I'm fucking Navy SEAL. I'm a tough motherfucker. I can do that shit. He goes, well, you can't run my race because you've never ran a 100-mile race before. So until you've done that, you're out. So he looks up what's a 100-mile race I can run so that I can go get in the Blackwater. So he finds this race, and it's indoors. It's in a stadium. You run 100 miles, 24 hours. You run 100 miles. You run for 24 hours. It's a team race, right? Everyone shows up. They got a team of guys. They kind of do it like a relay. David Goggins shows up by himself. Got a lawn chair. He's got some Ritz crackers, and he's got some Mileplex. He's going to run 100 fucking miles. Everyone looks at him like he's out of his fucking mind. He starts running. He makes it like 25, 30 miles. He's fucking hurting. He sits down. He gets up. I got to finish this fucking race.
So
he runs.
Carrying the lawn chair?
No. He brought it. That's all he had on that. Everyone else has like a little tent, a setup, a cooler, food, drinks. They're doing a relay, 100 miles. They're running for 24 hours. They're not stopping. 24-hour race, right? He shows up by himself, no team, to run this race. He has no food. He has Ritz crackers, Mileplex. That's all he brought. He said he ran like 20-something or 30 miles, and his feet were fucking broken, shin splints hurting. It's like, no way I can get up and continue this race. No way I'm going to finish this fucking race. I'm not going to get in the Blackwater. Sat down in the chair, got up, so I'm fucking finished. Ran 70 more miles, 19 hours, 100 miles in like 19 hours. Finished it, piss and blood. His body's fucked up. His feet are broken. He's fucking wrecked. And he tells a story about the aftermath of him doing that. But he calls the guy and says, hey, I finished the race. I ran 100 miles. I want to run the Blackwater. And the guy said, what race did you do? He said, I did this race. He goes, well, David, point of running a 24-hour race is to run 24 hours. You only ran 19. So you can't run in my race. And you know, they went through some shit. He went through it. And he ended up being able to get in the Blackwater. I think he finished like 5th or something his first time. But he became obsessed with running. And that motherfucker will run, and he tells amazing stories of people, and he's got cool videos. You know, people that don't want to be uncomfortable. They seek comfort, and he says that's the worst thing you can do. Yeah. He's like, I got someone, they'll message me. I want to go run. I want to run with you. Okay, cool. We get up. We'll run at 5 a.m. We'll run. And then I'll get a message from him in the morning. Hey man, the weather, looks like it's going to rain, and it's going to be kind of cold. And all right, cool. All right, well, cool. We can run tomorrow. I'm going to run today. I'm going to get mine in. Right. And then I'm going to run yours. Right. And then tomorrow, you wake up, we'll go run it again. Sometimes you just got to get uncomfortable being uncomfortable, man.
I hear you, bud.
And, I think that those people, those messages, that's a dude who just ran. Oh, they didn't really fucking know who David Goggins was. If you were a SEAL, maybe you knew who David Goggins was, but I would never have known him.
Right.
But through a message, he changed my life and a lot of other people's. And I think we can do that.
We'll see.
We'll see.
So. I'd like to. Now I feel.
That's it, buddy. I think we can wrap it up. We have been live for 4 hours and 35 minutes. 3 hours. I'm just kidding. We've been live for 3 hours and 3 minutes. This is the longest podcast we've done yet.
All right.
And it was great.
Good time.
There's a lot of good topics that we covered, a lot of fun stuff. So if somehow you've watched this and you have made it through the entire 3 hours, through all of this shit that we have talked about, and you have not clicked the like button or the subscribe button, or you have not written a fucking comment in the comment section,
Make a comment, motherfucker.
make a fucking comment, motherfucker. Because we need to talk about it. But we do appreciate all the comments. We got a lot on the other videos, so we'll address them. We'll talk to them. I respond to them all.
Good deal.
And we'll do it again, and we'll have some more stuff to talk about.
And we sure will. A week will go by. There'll be a list.
Yep, there will be a list.
There'll be a new list.
So I enjoyed it, man. Give us out, man. You always do the end.
Some people are. How's it go?
Man, you're the one that drinks tequila and makes the shit up.
No, and I didn't drink any tequila today because I'm hungover as fuck. Some people are born free. Some people die free. And some people live free as fuck. Hey, I want to thank all the people that fucking watch. Thank you. I think that's awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, man. Adios, amigos.